prime time. You can stop. 28.2 innings pitched, 29 hits. 16 strikeouts for 28 innings. 18 walks.
Could be a long night.
Could be. They'll pitch somebody good because this is a game up, playing up for them. This is just that, okay, we're just going to go play practice.
This is another conference game, or are they even in the same conference?
No. West Coast Conference, Pac-12. He's a freshman.
If you can talk to, I will. I'll sit over there. Hello, buddy. You touch the water. He'll be in jail first.
Turn on my charm. You don't have your dog.
Well, Kim says for his ID, I can read.
Maybe it's a yeah.
You can't remember either.
Never mind. You don't want to hear it from that. It wasn't nice.
Another one?
No. Too much running.
On a four-man group? Four-man. There's only three, but he'd be four. Big second base.
No, he'd make it 3.5.
Center field foul ball.
starting lineups. First from head coach Mark Wazakowski. The visitors from Eugene, Oregon. The University of Oregon Ducks. Leading off the designated hitter, number 56, Riku Nishida. Batting second in center field, number 26, Colby Shade. Batting third, the shortstop, number 15, Drew Cowley. Batting fourth at third base, number 21, Sabine Ceballos.
The clouds have parted ways as the sun peeks through, welcoming you to the Rose City for an in-state midweek matchup between the 23rd ranked Oregon Ducks and the hometown Portland Pilots. Welcome to Joe Edsel Field. I'm Brian Slack, joined by my broadcast partner and the head coach at Mount Hood Community College, Corey Keir, and we've got your call today. Now, the Oregon Ducks, they're back in the top 25 after taking number 7 Stanford in that series this past weekend. Meanwhile, the Pilots took down San Diego, taking 2 of 3, but both teams lost the series finale in dramatic fashion, and they're looking to get back into the win column today, Corey.
Well, if you're in the baseball business, you have to have a really short memory. I expect the Ducks and the Pilots to rebound and have a great game today.
Let's take a look at the standings of the WCC and why it was so important that the Pilots took down the Toreros. The Pilots currently sit in a 3-way tie for second place in the West Coast Conference after St. Mary's swept Pacific and LMU handed another series loss to the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Now, the next few weekends, it will have some exciting implications as they take on Gonzaga, who sits right behind them, along with BYU and Santa Clara, who are no slouches in the West Coast Conference, and they could really shake some things up. All right, let's take a look at the pitcher on the mound today. It's the second time the Pilots are going up against the Ducks, and today the Pilots are going to be throwing out junior right-handed pitcher KJ Rufo.
Yeah, the last time you and I saw him, Brian, he was behind the dish. We know that Coach Lambert's done a really good job transitioning position players to the mound. Expect Rufo to have a great start today.
Let's take a look at the defense that's going to be set up behind Rufo today. Your outfield is going to look like Briley Knight in left, Jake Holcroft in center, Henry Mensch in right. Your infield is going to be Evan Scavato at third, Ben Pataxel at short, Jake Sukata, the second baseman, and Zach Tolia, the first baseman, and then Riley McCarthy will get the start behind the plate today. Coming up next, we'll give you the lineup for the visiting Ducks and first pitch, so grab those drinks and snacks. We've got a Pacific Northwest matchup next on Portland CW.
We are steeped in traditions, driven by mission,
transformed by learning and serving.
We are innovators,
Researchers, explorers,
change makers,
and playmakers.
Because that's what being a pilot is all about.
Welcome back to Joe Edsel Field on the campus of the University of Portland. Brian Slack and Corey Keir with the call as we get ready for this midweek matchup between the Oregon Ducks and the Portland Pilots. Let's get you the starting lineup for the Ducks today. Leading things off is Riku Nishida, the DH, followed by Colby Shade, the center fielder. Drew Cowley is the shortstop, batting third. Sabine Ceballos will be over at third, batting cleanup. Tanner Smith, the left fielder, batting fifth. Jacob Walsh, the first baseman, bats sixth. Bennett Thompson will get the start behind the plate, batting seventh. Bryce Betcher out in right field, batting eighth. And then Gavin Grant will be the second baseman, rounding out the bottom of the lineup today. Well, Corey, you're familiar with the leadoff man for the Ducks in Riku Nishida. He's a guy who was at Mount Hood Community College just last year before coming over to Eugene to be with the Ducks this season.
Yeah, he's a special player. You know, I didn't get a chance to coach him at Mount Hood, but I did coach him 2 summers ago with the Cowlitz Black Bears. And, you know, last year, Riku Nishida stole 58 bases in the NWAC, and that's a special year for anybody, and especially for the NWAC. And you know, he's kind of changed the culture of the NWAC. Like, a lot of guys are really running. You know, if you look at Southwest Oregon Community College right now in their standings, they've got 5 or 6 guys with 20-plus bags, and there's a premium on recruiting speed, and everybody wants to be like Riku, man.
Yeah, well, Riku does things his own way, including, if you can't tell right now, that man uses a wooden bat compared to everybody else out on the field using the aluminum bats. So Riku Nishida now stepping up to the plate as he's batting .307 through 34 games this year with 39 hits and 18 RBI. Nishida from Osaka, Japan. Score just mentioned, he spent 2 seasons at Mount Hood Community College. He hit .383 with 54 RBI during his time there. First pitch from KJ Rufo in there for a strike, inner part of the plate just below the belt. It's 0-1. In his Mount Hood career, he had 91 stolen bases. He walked 73 times, so very patient at the plate as well. Sends this over to the shortstop. Handled glove side by Pataxel, and the throw over to first in time to retire Nishida.
Yeah, Riku, in my opinion, is probably understands himself better than most baseball players, and it's one of the reasons he's a great offensive player. You know, we talk about let your assessment dictate your aggression when you come to the plate, and one thing that Riku does a great job of is if he feels like the arm might be pretty good, then he'll use his legs to get on with a bunt or a running swing, hit it on the ground, run.
Swing and just over the glove of Pataxel into left field. That'll be a single for Colby Shade, and the first base runner is aboard for the Ducks.
You know, and the other thing about him is I've seen him hit some balls with power too. You know, that summer he sprayed balls. Get a second look at here. Just a ball over the middle of the plate, early ambush, just gets it over the top of Pataxel there.
And talking with Coach Wadzikowski about Riku Nishida, and he doesn't do anything that's very flashy, but he stays within himself. And whatever you deliver to him when he's at the plate, it's the first pitch here to Drew Cowley, called the ball. It'll be 1-0. But whether you deliver a pitch outside, he'll take it to the left side, or if you pitch him inside, he'll turn on it and bring it to the right side. And as you mentioned, not afraid to use those legs and put down a bunt single if he sees that third baseman playing back.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, if he doesn't hit it right at one of these infielders, he'll be safe. You know, Pataxel did a great job of closing distance on that ball and got Riku. Now, if that's hit a little to the left or especially away from his glove side, Riku's going to be safe more than not. So, and then it turns into a double because he's swiping in a couple pitches.
So Colby Shade is over at first. At the plate right now, Drew Cowley, the senior from Upland, California. Transfer in from Cal Poly Pomona. Throw over to first. Runners back safely. We'll go back to the 2-0 with 1 out. Cowley this season is hitting .321 through 34 games. He's got 42 hits and 33 RBI. The 42 hits ranks second on the team. Runner going for second. McCarthy comes up throwing. Pataxel gloves it, and the runner's going to be saved. That's a stolen base for Colby Shade. That'll be his 8th stolen base of the season.
Good jump there.
Yeah, I don't think Pataxel would have had a chance had that ball even not taking him away from the bag. 2-1 after the strike. Shea taking his lead off at second. Rufo will come home with it inside. Shade moving over to third as the ball squirted away from McCarthy. And so now the first run of the ball game is only 90 feet away over at third base. And Rufo steps back out onto the mound with a 3-1 count on Cowley. Ducks wearing their green top uniforms with Oregon in yellow across the chest, with their gray pants, green belt, and the green socks. The 3-1 pitch low for ball, and that'll put runners on the corners. Coming to the plate is Sabine Ceballos, the third baseman today for the Ducks, as McCarthy will go out in front of the plate to give out the signals for the infield. Ceballos comes from Rio Grande, Puerto Rico. At 341 at the junior college level, driving in 102 runs. Takes the first pitch. Looked like a slider from Rufo for a strike. It'll be 0-1. Ceballos this season's hitting 349 through 32 games, has 38 hits, 9 doubles, 9 home runs. He's driven in 40 so far this season. Has a chance to drive in one with a base hit here. This one in the dirt, blocked by McCarthy. Both runners will stay put, and that'll make it a 1-1 count.
There is no dirt.
Ceballos was the number 5 junior college transfer in the country, according to D1 Baseball. In fact, he was drafted in the 14th round by the LA Angels in the past draft, which is 418th overall. Here, puts one in the air into foul territory. Tolia over by the Ducks dugout, and he's going to lose that one as it goes out of play. Second strike on Ceballos. It'll be 1-2.
Nice to see the kids out on the berm, on the grass, and we haven't seen that much this year. As a matter of fact, a couple of our games, we had a big pile of snow over on that berm.
We did.
So it's nice to see the kids out there with their gloves, chasing down foul balls, enjoying 2 quality baseball teams.
The 1-2. Rufo comes home with it. Trying to get a chase, doesn't get it. It'll be 2-2. Well, we've been dealing with some rain today. It'll be on and off right now. Currently, it's 44 degrees, partly cloudy here. In fact, you could say it's overly cloudy over Joe Edsall Field with 13-mile-an-hour winds. Runner going for second. McCarthy fakes the throw. Moving up to second is Cowley. And that was a ball, so now it's a full count on Sabine Ceballos. Two runners in scoring position. As Ceballos is hitting 391 with runners on. Now with a full count. No chase, ball 4, and that'll load the bases up.
Rufo just around the zone a little bit. And, you know, actually, to be honest with you, I think he looks pretty polished out there. You can tell that he's been pitching a lot, and the velocity is good, and he has some shape to his breaking ball. But, you know, you got to get the we always talk about the strike zone being the fairway, and, you know, there's a green down there on the left with a trap in front and the pins tucked left, and you've got to hit it on the right side of the fairway to get to score. And he seems to be missing on the opposite side of where they'll swing it at.
First pitch to Tanner Smith. Broke inside, out of the zone. It'll be 1-0. Smith, you could consider him the Iron Man for the Oregon Ducks, as he's made 197 consecutive starts in a Duck uniform. 218 career starts, puts him 3rd all-time in the Ducks program history. Check swing, he did not go around. It'll make it 2-0. Smith, though, leads this club so far this year with 44 hits as he bats .344 through 34 games, excuse me. 24 RBI, go along with 12 doubles and 6 home runs. This is probably one of the last people you want to have up at the plate, as he's tied right now with the career RBI record at the University of Oregon as he takes a strike. It's now 2-1. Currently tied with Gabe Matthews, who just graduated a couple years ago. They both sit at the top with 137 RBI. And he can be the sole leader after this at-bat, whether it's a walk or a base hit. And it'll be a base hit down the first base line. 1 run is in. Coming in from second, it's Cowley. Smith is going to second. Stopping at third is Ceballos, and it's a 2 RBI double for Tanner Smith, the new RBI leader in the University of Oregon baseball history.
Got a ball in. Rufo was forced to put it into an area he'll swing at. Quick hands, just hooked it over the bag there at first base and got a couple RBIs.
So it's a 2-0 lead now for the Ducks, as runners stand at second and third. Over at third is Ceballos. Smith is at second. Jacob Walsh now steps to the plate. He's the first baseman for the Ducks today. Walsh, a sophomore from Las Vegas, Nevada. Freshman All-American last season, just the 10th Duck to do that in program history as he takes a fastball inside for a ball. It'll be 1-0. Walsh is hitting .259 through 33 games this year, 30 hits, with 11 home runs, which leads the Ducks with 23 RBI as well. The 1-0. Puts this one into the air, into center field. Holcroft, who is playing deep, comes charging in. Pataxel is going to make the play in shallow center field in front of Holcroft, throws in immediately. Both runners will stay put as the cutoff throw cut off by Tolia, and there's 2 away.
Boy, that'll tell you right there if you get a chance to replay that. The wind is really blowing in there, and that ball off the bat, I thought no chance Pataxel had a chance of catching that. And Holcroft literally came from the track right up to next to where Pataxel was, and believe it or not, Pataxel was camped right underneath it. It was crazy how much that wind knocked it down.
So Bennett Thompson, the catcher from Medford, Oregon, steps to the plate. First pitch to him from Rufo off speed. Drops in for a strike, though. It'll be 0-1. Thompson, just a sophomore. She's batting .216 through 13 games this season. The 0-1 from Rufo. High, check swing. Didn't go around, though. That'll make it a 1-1 count. And you're going to see a lot of movement from that flag right there. You can see sort of on the left center field blowing in 13-mile-an-hour winds today. So just like Corey, you were just talking about, if that ball gets caught up in the air, that's going to be difficult no matter who's out in the field. That ball will be moving. Here's the 1-1. Check swing, doesn't matter. In there for a strike, makes it 1-2.
One thing I'm really liking about Rufo is just his makeup and what he looks like out there. You know, he's given up some runs, but you can't tell. Like if you just walked in the ballpark and you didn't see it, you'd say, oh, it's second and third and there's no runs yet because his makeup's looking good out there.
1-2, can he get out of this inning with a strikeout? And no, this one's put into left field. Ceballos scores. Smith rounds third. He's going to come in and score. Coming up to second is Bennett Thompson sliding in head first. It's a 2 RBI double. Now a 4-0 lead for the Oregon Ducks here in the top of the first inning.
Second look, yeah. Just took a ball in the outer half and hooked it.
Stepping to the plate is Bryce Betcher, the right fielder for the Ducks today. Betcher wears number 28 for the Ducks. First pitch breaking ball for a strike. Into the zone, it's 0-1. Betcher's hitting .200, making his 30th appearance. Only his 8th start on the year, though. Only 5 hits on the season. The 0-1. Fouls it off into the backstop to make it 0-2.
Yeah, when I walked in the ballpark today, you know, I've seen the Ducks play a lot over the last 10 years, 15 years, and since they came back. And one thing I noticed is that every player looks like a big league player. They're very polished. They all have arm strength. They all run. They all look good in their uniform. I think it's a pretty special club here.
Well, Betcher strikes out, stranding a man at second, but 4 runs come in the top of the first inning for the Ducks, and they'll take that 4-0 lead into the bottom of the first. Pataxel, Holcroft, and Scavato will lead things off for the Pilots when we return on Portland CW. Welcome back to Joe Edsall Field. A 4-0 lead for the Oregon Ducks with back-to-back 2 RBI doubles that gave them that lead. Jackson Pace is the pitcher on the mound for the Ducks today, the right-hander from Hollister, California. So far on the season, as he makes his 10th appearance, 7th start, he has a 2-1 record with a 6.59 ERA through 28 2/3 innings pitched. He's allowed 29 hits, 21 earned runs, and about 1-to-1 walk to strikeout ratio. 18 walks, 16 strikeouts. Opponents are hitting .259 against him this season. Let's get to the lineup for the Portland Pilots today. Mentioned just before the break, but Pataxo will lead things off. Holcroft bats second. Scavata will be batting third as he plays third. Tolia will be cleanup. Nick Klemp is the DH today. He'll be batting fifth. Briley Knight follows him, followed by Henry Mensch. Sukata, starting at second base, will be batting eighth. And then Riley McCarthy, the starting catcher today, will be batting ninth. A bit of a shakeup. We usually see Jake Holcroft in the leadoff position as he's been such a tough out, but Ben Pataxel is now the leadoff man. And, you know, talking with Coach Loomis, it's about, hey, who's getting on base right now at a higher clip? And so far, that's been Ben Pataxel as of late.
Yeah, Pataxel's always been a guy that would see some pitches and collect some information and put together at-bats, a real polished type hitter. And not that Holcroft isn't. Holcroft can hit the first pitch or he can see seven, but Pataxel definitely is a guy that is going to get guys deep in account. And, you know, with the arm on the mound and the ERA and the midweek thing, it's good to have a pretty patient guy as your leadoff guy. You don't want to first pitch, you know, hit a ground ball to shortstop and not collect any information or have things, you know, not help out the club.
Pataxo taking an inside fastball for a ball, makes it 1-0. Here's the defense for the Ducks. Tanner Smith out in the left field, Colby Shade in center. Bryce Betcher is the right fielder. Here's a chopper over to third, played by Ceballos, cuts off the shortstop and delivers a throw over to first in time. Ceballos is the third baseman. Drew Cowley is over at short. Gavin Grant is the second baseman with Jacob Walsh over at first. And then Bennett Thompson is behind the plate with Jackson Pace on the mound. So after the ground out over to third, it's now Jake Holcroft's turn up at the plate, trying to get something going for the Pilots after the quick out. First pitch to Holcroft, nearly in the dirt, gloved by Thompson. It'll be 1-0.
Yeah, a lot of coaches like a left-hander in the two spot. If you get a walk and then the guy's holding the runner, you know, there's a lot of space over there for them just to be left-handed and hook it by. So, you know, it's kind of been a traditional thing to put a good left-hander that can pull the ball in the two spot, so you don't always have to bunt. So
Ceballos, the third baseman, playing off the line. His feet are actually on the infield grass as he stands about 12 feet off the line. As Holcroft takes ball three. It's now 3-0. Holcroft, the redshirt junior from Upland, California, batting .355 on the season through 35 games. Takes a 3-0 pitch for a strike, making it 3-1. 54 hits, leads this club as he's driven in 26 runs, which just puts him behind Evan Scavato, who leads the club in RBIs as Holcroft reaches with a walk. And I think that's something that the Pilots are going to have to be a little bit more patient at the plate. Not that they aren't normally, but we see a guy with speed. They like to jump on him early in the count. Now with a guy who's kind of 1-to-1 with strikeout to walk ratio, with high walk rates, with 18 walks on the season, you might find out that, hey, he's not as polished around the zone. Maybe be a bit more patient.
Yeah, you got to let your assessment dictate your aggression, and if he's not throwing a lot of balls in the strike zone, then there's opportunities to get leverage counts and get a pitch that you can hit.
Scavato puts this one into the air, into center field. Shade drops back. Now he's coming in because of the wind and makes the catch on the run. 2 away here in the bottom of the first inning.
You know, there's a balance there. You know, there's a lot of coaches that like players to take pitches and stuff, and you don't want to not, you know, take the aggression out of the hitter, but you know, if you've got a guy that's going to be an around the zone guy, it's forcing him to be in the strike zone is only beneficial to you, because the more you see, the better you get.
Zach Tolia steps to the plate, the first baseman today for the Pilots. Bats from the right side with an open stance. Tolia, sophomore, batting .306 on the year through 25 games. He's got 26 hits with 4 home runs and 14 RBI. Off speed inside, just above the knees on the inside part of the plate for a strike. It'll be 0-1. Grant will keep an eye on second if Holcroft goes. Throw over to first. He's back in head first safely. Pace, just a freshman on the mound, has come from a baseball background. His father, Carlton, pitched for 3 seasons at UCSB back in the day. Here's the 0-1. Swung on and missed by Talia, falls behind 0-2. Back in high school, 3-time preseason All-American honors by perfect game. And 3-1 as a senior. As Talia puts a drive into one into right center field. Going back is Bryce Betcher, backing up to the warning track. He makes the catch, and it's a fly out to end the first inning for the Pilots. They strand one, no runs come in to score, and they trail 4-0 as we head to the second inning. Gavin Grant leads us off, and then it's back to the top of the lineup to Riku Nishida and Colby Shade when we return on Portland CW. Welcome back to Joe Edsall Field. A 4-0 lead for the Oregon Ducks as they jumped on KJ Rufo for a couple of RBI doubles back in the first inning, and that's how they've gotten this 4-0 lead as Gavin Grant steps to the plate for his first appearance on the day. Grant, a senior from Puyallup, Washington. First pitch he sees, puts a drive into left field. Knight is going to watch it go over the fence. A solo home run for Gavin Grant, his 6th home run of the season. First pitch he sees, he puts it over the fence in left field, and he really had to fight that wind. It was a line drive over the fence, basically.
Yeah, it was a pretty big ball there, man, Brian. It looks about 30 feet over the fence.
Yeah.
Ball got up, and he ambushed the first pitch, and he caught barrel. And you know, there's a reason why the Ducks are where they're at, and Division I hitters don't miss up pitches. That's just what we've talked about all the time.
And it's now a 5-0 lead. And now we're going to see a bit of a change for Riku Nishida at the plate. No longer using the wood bat, but instead using the aluminum bat. Here's the 0-1. Rufo delivers. And this ball poked into left field, and it'll be caught on the run by Briley Knight for the first out of the second inning.
Yeah, it's funny because, you know, you ask, well, why is he using the wood bat? And, you know, he brings that wood bat up the first time, and now all the corners are all going to come in thinking he's going to bunt with the wood bat. Then he's got the metal bat. Now they're going to back up, and now he's going to bunt. You just don't know with Riku, right?
Coming to the plate for the second time is Colby Shade. He singled his last time up, and then he stole second and then reached third on a pass ball as he fouls off the first pitch down the third baseline. It'll be 0-1. Now, you think it's just mind games? You think Riku plays mind games with the defense?
No, maybe he broke his wood bat.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're right.
I doubt it, but...
So the 0-1 to Shade. No chase on the pitch, low and away. He makes it a 1-1 count. Shade, a junior from Fort Collins, Colorado. Last season started in 59 of the 61 games for the Ducks as he takes ball 2 to make it 2-1.
Little Snoopy cloud snuck over the snuck over the bluff and gonna sit over the field here for a minute.
Yeah, you can see some of the rain coming down over the hill past right field. Here's the 2-1. Inside, just missing the hands. Now ahead in the count, it's 3-1 on Shade. Now Shade has to take a back seat this season. Last year he led the team in stolen bases with 16. Riku Nishida already has 15 on the year, and there's still over 10 games, 15 games left in the season as this ball ripped foul for another strike. It'll be a full count now, 3-2. Consistent hitter at the plate last year. Shade held a 14-game hit streak, which ends up being the 6th longest hit streak since the return of the program back in 2008. As you see the rain falling now on your screen as McCarthy and Coach Lambert go out to the mound.
You know, when Oregon started their program up, we had a really good Mount Hood Saint named Josh Hogan that played for Mount Hood, and he was one of the first Mount Hood Saints to play for Oregon when they started that program up. He played second base and actually went on and was a volunteer coach there and coached in the summer league, and back when the West Coast League had the Medford team.
Medford Rogues,
the Medford Rogues, yeah, he was the head coach there, and yeah, real good Saint. From Eugene, Oregon.
Okay, so got to play with his hometown team then.
Yeah.
And it looks like right now Coach Lambert out there trying to, well, it looked like there was somebody warming up for the Pilots momentarily, but now just trying to get a heat check, it looks like, on Rufo on the mound.
Yeah, remember that Rufo came into the program as a catcher, and he has a big-time arm, and Coach is coaching him up. You know, he's probably talking to him about, hey, where are we landing our pitches and how you feeling, and, you know, maybe give him some advice on just to feel better out there, because the big thing is you pitch how you feel, and you know, they've been hitting a lot of lasers around, and if you're not feeling good, it's not going to get any better. So you just have to compete and roll your neck. And like I said, I mean, we watched Gillis 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, Gillis wasn't very good when he first started. You know, he was a project coming from third base, and I mean, look what he did.
Yeah, won WCC Pitcher of the Year last year, draft pick to the Houston Astros.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Lambert does a really good job with these guys, and there's a reason why Rufo's pitching is because he's got an electric arm, and Coach is going to get him polished up.
Rain really starting to fall down now, almost at a 45-degree angle as the first pitch is fouled off by Drew Cowley in his second at-bat. It'll be 0-1. Cowley walked in his first at-bat and then stole second base. Later came around to score thanks to a 2 RBI double by Tanner Smith, which made him the RBI leader in Oregon Duck history. He now sits with 139 career RBI. And we're talking about a guy who's top 10 in 15 different offensive categories for the Ducks in program history. The 0-1. Rufo gets set on the third base side of the rubber and throws high. Luckily, Tolia is able to glove it. It seemed like it slipped out of his hand as he tried that pickoff attempt. We'll go back to the 0-1. Now, Corey, I had a chance to talk with both coaches yesterday before today's game, mainly just speaking about it's a midweek game, and we have talked about in the past and the importance of winning those weekend series because it's in conference, and that's where you really have your best ability of making it to a regional. But these midweek games, especially against a high caliber opponent for Portland, like, these are very important games. They're not just going out there to collect at bats or get innings for the young arms.
Looks like the umpires are going to take the players off their field. It's like we said, we had a little Snoopy cloud sneak over the. There's a squall. I think that in behind that some blue sky, so it looks like we're going to take a little break.
Yeah, but going back to what I was saying, the midweek games and how important it is, it's not just another game to get at-bats or get some innings for some young arms. Both these clubs are going out here trying to win these midweek games. It boosts what would be an RPI for Portland, and then with Portland being so tough, it doesn't hurt the Ducks at all.
Yeah, and there is a recruiting battle.
Of course.
Even though they're at different levels, they're both Division I, but different levels. There is a recruiting battle, and they want to win that recruit battle.
Well, the rain's starting to fall here, and it's actually changed directions. It was going from first base over to third base, and now it's sort of blowing towards the first base dugout of the Oregon Ducks. And, you know, looking at the clouds out there, it'll probably just be about 10 to 15 minutes with how this weather usually changes here in the Northwest, Corey.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. You know, a quick story, when I first got in the ballpark, I went down to say hi to Riku, and a couple of my players are here that played with Riku, And Rico, I don't think realized that Brent Thomas, who's one of the coaches in that dugout over there, actually played for me when I was down there at Cowlitz in 2011. I was one of the assistants, and you know, had a nice big hug with him and talked to him. And Rico's looking at it like kind of surprised that, it's a small world, and you know, the Ducks. I'm looking through this list, and man, I got these career record guys. I got an opportunity up there at Cowlitz to coach some special ones. My favorite all-time Duck, all-time Cowlitz Black Bear, Kyle Garlick. I mean, if you look, he leads in most categories. When I was working for the Marlins, I just absolutely love Kyle Garlick. He did special things, and you know, he played in the big leagues, and he still is in the big leagues. So,
now, it's been a lot of fun. Actually, you talk about the records here at Oregon, but baseball here in the Northwest has sort of had I don't want to say a resurgence, but I think more people are putting eyes on this area for talent, because it is somewhat of a hotbed up here that people tend to forget because it's not sunny California or Arizona or Texas year-round.
Yeah, I mean, it started, you know, back with the OSU run, and then locally we had George Fox make a run, and Linfield's made runs, and, you know, and in the Corvallis Knights in the summer with their multiple championships. And
also Summer League Team of the Year through multiple leagues. That's how much recognition they've gotten.
Yeah, and every single program right now in the Northwest is on the rise. I mean, when you really think about it, the Huskies are playing better, the Ducks are playing better, the Beavers are the Beavs. Portland just came off the best year they'd had in many, many years. We got the chance to call that last year. So, you know, just about everywhere you look, everybody's doing a really good job, with the exception of the Saints. Last year they played for a title, and they hired a bad head coach, and he's not doing a good job. But yeah, West Coast baseball is really good, and it's not just about the south part of the West Coast.
Yeah.
The north is good, and yeah, you're getting big time recruits too. I mean, the radar guns lighting up, and the balls are flying far. And
well, I think you notice it. I know you've brought it up in previous games that we've done before, but the amount of scouts that are usually in the ballpark, whether it's for a Portland player or for the opposing players, it'll let you know that the talent level is certainly up here on the West Coast.
Yeah, and you know, even looking down to the high school levels, there's just, you know, the one thing, there is a little bit of difference. You know, I don't want to be this guy, but I'm going to be this guy. Back when I played, the difference is we played a lot of baseball, and this new athlete is an athlete that trains a lot. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. They're really concerned about the measurables. They want to know how hard it comes off the bat and what the velocity is, and there's pros and cons to both. Now, I like baseball players, and I think if you can take the new training methods and teach them how to play the game and have a great time, they play like Riku Nishida. And the Ducks look like that, and the Pilots look like that. But yeah, different athlete from 25, 30 years ago, but they have their own special talents.
As I'm looking at the hill across the way, it's starting to clear up that way. In fact, if you're looking at the screen right now, you'll notice that the rain's starting to slow down. So hopefully the delay not too much longer. Saw the umpires come out and over into the dugout for the Portland Pilots to talk things over with Coach Loomis. Now, the Ducks took game one of this setup that they have this year down in Eugene. They won 9-1, and talking with Coach Waz, you know, he has a lot of high praise for this Pilots team, you know, from where they have been to where they are now. You know, it's drastically, in his words, drastically improved. It's a solid club. Coaching has really elevated the program from where it has been from when Coach Loomis took over. And, you know, it really says a lot that an opposing team, a higher caliber team, I guess, from Oregon, you know, to get that praise for your program.
Yeah, 100%. Again, you know, Coach Loomis has just done a fantastic job, and it looks like we're about 3 minutes or 3 minutes from coming back here, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm looking out right now, and Drew Cowley's looking to get some swings over in front of the Ducks dugout right now. And it looks like the umpires are also getting back on, so I'm sure you'll have a brief moment of warming back up maybe before we start play back up. But a brief rain delay here at Joe Etzel Field as the Oregon Ducks have a 5-0 lead in the top of the second inning. Only one out right now. 4 runs in the first inning after two RBI doubles. And then a solo home run by Gavin Grant to start off the second inning has gotten the Ducks out to this 5-0 lead.
Well, Brian, that's the first rain delay that we ever had to talk through. And, you know, if you're going to hire someone that can talk for 5 minutes straight, you got the right guy sitting next to you.
Yeah, right. Just to ask you a couple questions, just talk on
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sorry, everybody out there, for the ramblings, but we're about 2 minutes away from getting back to this ball game.
Well, the bats certainly have come alive for the Oregon Ducks early on, as they've also have been benefit of a couple of walks, but the bats came alive in the first inning with 3 different hits, a couple of doubles, and we'll give you some of the highlights here. And that's Tanner Smith, who torched a ball down the first baseline, and that scored the first 2 runs of this game. That drove in Shade and Cowley, and that actually gave Tanner Smith the all-time RBI record at the University of Oregon. That was followed by the RBI double by Bennett Thompson, the catcher for the Ducks, and that's how they jumped out to that early 4-0 lead.
Yeah, Rufo was around the zone and got behind hitters, and then the hitters didn't miss the leverage counts, and that's kind of what, you know, after this little delay, when he comes back, he needs to know he needs to attack the area of the strike zone that they like to swing it at and get the ball in play sooner in the counts, not get them to leverage counts.
You saw right there Gavin Grant's solo home run that towered over to the light pole in left, as we have Drew Cowley now stepping back into the box after our brief rain delay, and the home plate umpire, Tyler Wall, is ready to go. So runner over at first. That's Shade. He's now taking off for second, and he has himself his 2nd stolen base of the day, his 9th stolen base of the season.
Yeah, really good exchange by Riley there. Probably had a really good time. I feel like you'll see here, just makes a good catch and throw, but there was an incredible jump out there. I think no one talked about it after the 10-minute rain delay that, hey, we're just going to go first pitch. So
right side of the infield playing back. Pataxil keeping an eye on the runner. Now he retreats back. Rufo throws, breaking ball inside, and I think that caught him. It did, as Cowley gets hit by the pitch, and he reaches base for the 2nd time today. Well, some early trouble for KJ Rufo in the first inning, and now he's got 2 runners on with only 1 out as Sabine Ceballos comes to the plate. No official at-bat as he walked in the first inning. He did come around to score, part of that 2 RBI double by Bennett Thompson. As the rain's starting to fall again here. Not as heavy as it was about 20 minutes ago. Both runners are going. McCarthy comes up throwing towards third. It's high. Scavato gloves it. Both runners get a stolen base on that one. Cowley moves up to second. Shade over to third. And they must see something about Rufo from the stretch right now, because they are jumping on him early on the base pass.
Yeah, it's the stopwatch. I mean, you add up his stretch time, you add up McCarthy's throw time. You can see he goes a high leg kick there, and they just take advantage of it. And you've got to do one of 2 things. You either got to shorten your leg kick, or you have to do a lot of picking to slow the runners down.
This ball popped up on the infield. Rufo looking for it. He's going to be called off by Tolia. Ceballos just gets out of the way of it, as Tolia makes the play in foul territory. There's now 2 outs after the pop out. I thought we were going to have an instance of the runner running into the first baseman right there trying to make a play, and luckily Ceballos, realizing he almost did, got out of the way. So Tanner Smith now steps to the plate. All-time leader in hits, runs, consecutive starts, doubles, RBI. He does it all for the Ducks. He's 1 for 1 with an RBI double, or 2 RBI double, I should say, back in the first inning. Breaking ball from Rufo drops in at the knees for a strike, 0-1. Right side of the infield, that's Tolia and Sukata playing back. Pataxil's heels are on the outfield grass just to the left of second base. Scavato off the line playing behind third. Outfield playing deep, but the wind is blowing in. Here's the 0-1. Inside near the ankles. That'll even the count at 1-1 on Smith. Two outs here, top of the second inning, a 5-0 lead for the Ducks. Strike 2 from Rufo. And when we talked to Coach Waz yesterday, specifically, we brought up the RBI record for the Ducks and how the whole team really wanted him to get it. But there's one thing about getting the record, and then there's another thing about getting the record in a win, and he really wanted to do it today against the Pilots. That was the last time that Tanner Smith had an RBI. It was back in early April against this Pilot club in Eugene. As he fouls off another pitch, it'll be 1-2. Sun is trying to peek its head through again, fighting through the clouds. Wind blowing in at around 13 miles an hour. Here's the 1-2 count. 2 outs, runners on second and third. Rufo throws. This ball hit down the left field line. It'll go out of play, though. And we'll reset on the 1-2.
Good night. He hit that a long ways. That went all the way out to the parking lot.
Is your truck okay?
I parked a little too close, I think. I see that the Pilots have Ty Saunders, another converted a position player that pitches. You know, Ty Saunders, we've seen him play just about everywhere. He's the mayor of the Pilots now.
This ball hit high into center field. Holcroft is trying to get underneath it. He'll call off Mensch, and the flyout will end the second inning. But 1 run comes in to score thanks to a solo home run by Gavin Grant, and it's now 5-0 in favor of the Ducks. When we return, coming to the plate for Portland, it's Klemp, Knight, and Mensch when we return on Portland CW.
Try to control it. Blue sky, what?
Bottom of the second inning here at Joe Edsel Field, and back out on the mound is Jackson Pace as he went and got through the 4th man into the order, but held the Pilots scoreless in the first inning, and now he gets another inning of work as Nick Klemp comes to the plate for the first time today. Klemp, the senior from Edward Washington, is batting .359 on the season, which sets the pace for the Pilots. Through 32 games, he has 46 hits and 24 RBI. Klemp crushes a ball down the left field line, but he pulls it too much. It lands on top of the Pianovi hitting facility. That's a loud strike right there, 0-1. Softly hit over the first and out. So the first out retired here in the second, and that'll bring up Briley Knight. And you talk about a guy who's pretty strong and dependable at the plate. It's Briley Knight. It's a pretty good feel for the strike zone, a tough out. As he steps to the plate for the first time today. Knight is batting .296 as he fouls off the first pitch. Out of play, 0-1. Knight from Corvallis, Oregon, actually born down in Australia, though. Dual citizenship as an Australian and a U.S. citizen. Takes ball 1. It'll now be 1-1. Now, Corey, correct me if I'm wrong, but Mr. Knight, his dad, is a coach down in Australia, or he has been in the past, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so 2-1 now.
Brooke Knight.
Yeah, Brooke Knight. I've actually seen him in the ballpark wearing his Team Australia hat. And Briley Knight has a ground ball up the middle and past the diving Drew Cowley. And the Pilots get their first hit of the day. as Henry Mensch, the right fielder, will now step to the plate. Another look at the hit from Knight. It looked like there was an outside pitch that he was just able to put right back up the middle. Well, if you're the Pilots, you have to be thinking one run at a time right now, as 5 runs can be pretty daunting. And of course, everybody can kind of get into that mindset of, oh, I need to hit it over the fence right here, get a big hit, as Mensch puts a fly ball into right center field. Coming over from center is Shade, and he will make the catch actually in shallow right field as he cuts in front of Betcher, and there's 2 away.
Yeah, sometimes a 4 or 5 run early lead turns into a ball game that gets tight late, because it's you know, the hitters on the opposing team, you know, they think it's over and they take themselves out of at bats, and you know, the focus goes down, and you know, you can always rope-a-dope a team if they score too many early. But the key is being really good at staying focused when you are ahead.
Knight leaning back towards first, now takes his secondary. The first swing from Jake Sukata sent foul to the left side. It'll be 0-1.
And the coaching point is to try to win innings. I mean, we've talked about that many times in the broadcast. I mean, obviously you lost inning number 1 and you've lost inning number 2, not yet, but you know, the goal is to try to just win innings. And you know, usually when you look at a scoreboard, the team with the most innings that they won usually win, you know, the ball game. Obviously a big inning is what you always want to get, but you know, if the Pilots have win 3 or 4 innings in a row, and now they're right back in the ball game.
Sukata, the junior from Hawaii, bats from the left side with the 1-1 count. Pace peeks over his shoulder, comes home with it. Another ball fouled off to our left for a strike, 1-2. Sukata's batting .261 on the year through 33 games. He's got 31 hits and 14 RBI. Not a guy that swings a big stick with a lot of power, but he can sort of put it all over the ballpark if he needs to. Terrific fielder over at second. We've also seen him over at third base this season as well. As that went off the plate, trying to frame it into the zone was Thompson. Instead, it's called a ball, 2-2.
Yeah, I hit Sukata a lot of ground balls last summer over there at Richfield, and had some conversations about him as a player and his ability to handle the bat. And he kind of sprays the ball around, like you say, and he has some sneaky power, gap power, but not over the fence power. But you know, here's a nice little hit up the middle by him.
Knight should take third, and that's where he's going. That'll be a single for Sukata, and that puts runners on the corners for the Pilots.
Yeah, great base running there by Briley. The ball was play side, and generally you don't go first to third on play side, but you have to know your own ability, and he can see that the right fielder was not in the gap. He was actually on the line, and he was able to just turn and burn and get over to third base.
And now Riley McCarthy will come to the plate. And McCarthy started to get back into the lineup this past couple of series against LMU. He got back into the lineup, and then against Seattle U in that midweek game just a week ago, got back into the lineup. Doubled his hit total, doubled his RBI total. He's had a couple of nice at-bats over, say, the last 10 to 15 days, and that's why he's back into the lineup today.
Yeah, if you're Riley here, you want to put a really good at-bat together. Just find a way to get the green grass to the outfield and get the Pilots on the board and get some confidence going.
First pitch to McCarthy. Softly hit into center field. Will this drop? And it will. In front of Shade. Sukata's moving over to third. McCarthy rounds first. He'll go back, and he has himself an RBI single here in the bottom of the second.
More great base running by the Pilots right off the bat. Sukata was on the move because it was 2 outs, and he was either down or it was out, so he went ahead and went to third.
And it's just one of those plays where you don't have to hit the ball incredibly hard to get a successful play out of it. Just put it in play. As Ben Pataxel will come to the plate now, 0 for 1 after grounding out over to Ceballos at third back in the first inning. Corey talked about winning innings as Pataxel takes a breaking ball for a strike, 0-1. You haven't quite won it yet, but you at least tied this inning. You're still in this game right now as you trail 5-1.
Yeah, and again, Pataxel, like McCarthy, needs to put an at-bat together and do anything he can to find grass, and you don't get that inning won.
Pataxel fouls it off to the backstop on an inside pitch. That'll make it 0-2. you know, we were talking about baseball in the Northwest during that rain delay, as Pataxo comes from O'Dea High School. He's one of those guys that, you know, there's a couple of O'Dea players on Portland's roster as a pitch thrown and fouled off into the netting behind home plate. We'll go back to the 0-2. But noticing, you know, rosters around the West Coast, I mean, there's some on UW's roster, there's Seattle's roster. I mean, there's a couple other players from O'Dea High School in the WCC. So it's a powerhouse of a high school coming out of Washington in the Northwest, producing a lot of high-profile players.
Yeah, really the Jesuit of Seattle. They have tons of great ball players, and they have great football as well.
Yeah, Pataxo goes down on strikes, and that'll end the second inning. But the Pilots do score one thanks to Riley McCarthy's RBI single, and that makes it 5-1 as we head to the third inning. Walsh, Thompson, and Betcher come to the plate for the Ducks when we return on Portland CW. Pilots were able to put one across the board in the bottom of the second inning, and they now trail 5-1 as we start the third inning. KJ Rufo back out on the mound for the Pilots as Jacob Walsh, the first baseman, comes to the plate for the Ducks for his second at-bat of the day. Well, the Ducks have dominated the series between these two teams. In fact, they're looking for their 100th victory against the Pilots in their program's history. They're 99-32-0 against the Pilots. Infield playing back, the first pitch from Rufo, fouled into the netting high behind home plate, 0-1. We're starting to see some of that sunshine again. See some pockets of blue sky just beyond confines of Joe Etzel Field. The 0-1 fouled off in front of the dugout for Portland. In fact, it'll go over the dugout for strike 2, 0-2. Talking with Coach Loomis, the Pilots went through a tough stretch as of recently. I believe they lost 7 of their last 8 games before winning that series against San Diego. As this ball pulled foul and goes into the dugout for the Ducks, 0-2 again. But talking with Coach Loomis, he kind of had a positive mindset about it. In fact, he kind of brought up that, you know, unless you're one of those top-tier programs, say like this year it's LSU or what was Tennessee a couple years ago or Vanderbilt, teams are going to go through a rough stretch. I mean, you're playing 50 games in a season. Here's the 0-2. Check swing, no call. It'll be 1-2. But because it's a long season, you're going to have these moments where you get some lulls and you lose a couple of games, but it's how do the guys respond? And so far, the Pilots have really kept their heads in these games. They've lost a couple of close ones that just were out of their reach. Here's the 1-2. Fouled off, and we'll reset on the 1-2.
Yeah, that's the key to a successful baseball team and baseball program, is a team that comes out every single day to play and understands if we're down, if we're down 5-0, we're not just going to roll over and let it be 12-0. We're going to fight, and continue to press and get better. And then, sometimes that's when the guys that don't get to play get opportunity, and then they end up doing well, and it helps your squad to have guys that are on the bench that can come and participate and do well. So,
as Rufo misses there, it'll be 2-2. I mean, we've talked about a couple of guys who, in the past couple of seasons, that just come off the bench and are able to produce, and how key that was, especially last year for the Pilots. As this ball goes off the end of the bat and rolls in front of the dugout, we'll go back to the 2-2 count. But you think of a guy like Gabe Squirrel last year, who we dubbed the professional hitter, but because of what he did, he came off the bench late in ball games, and then he delivered, whether it was getting a walk, moving a guy over, or getting a base hit.
Yeah, I did a lot of things for the Pilots, and you know, sometimes you just have to have you just have to have the mentality that you're going to do whatever you can to help the ball club, and it's not always the starter. Sometimes it is the guy off the bench, and I would say that Squirrel will be remembered as one of the great ones. Had a great career here, and you know, did a good job for the Pilots, and you know, everybody doesn't get to be the star, right? Yeah, sometimes you got to be the star off the bench, or maybe you got to be the star on the bench. But yeah,
kind of falls back to that know your role type of situation of, hey, I may not be the star, but I know I can do this well, and here's how I'm going to help this team out today, tomorrow, the next week, this weekend, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, great book that I read many years ago when I was at a coach's clinic. He spoke, and that's Frosty Western.
This ball hit into right field all the way to the fence. Mensch having a hard time fielding it. Comes up throwing towards second and sliding in head first. It'll be Jacob Walsh with a double to start off the third inning.
Talking about the football coach from Pacific Lutheran, here's another look at it. I'll tell you what, man, these hitters are super polished, and they just don't miss their pitch. I mean, obviously this young man likes the ball down and in, and a lot of left-handers do, and he got it and he didn't miss it.
Gotta say, there was a lot closer play at second than what I thought it was going to be, as Mensch, the ball sort of went off the bottom of the fence and took a weird bounce, and he couldn't get it cleanly, but still made it a closer play at second than initially thought.
Yeah, Mensch has a bazooka, man. Don't let him fool you.
Yeah. As Bennett Thompson, who has a 2 RBI double under his belt, squares to bunt high and inside on a fastball. McCarthy losing it, pulling the bat back safely. It'll be 1-0 to start off this at-bat for Thompson.
A couple years ago, 2021, when we were at Cowlitz and Riku was in the dugout, Henry Mensch was in the dugout as well. So they were teammates and, you know, had some good times together. That's a club that we did a lot of laughing and had a really good time.
Here's the 1-0. It's Rufo. Looks back at Walsh, comes home with it. Low and away for a ball, makes it 2-0. That's part of the fun about summer ball, though, is you get a bunch of guys that don't really know each other. They all come in, and you create these new bonds and friendships. And the memories, like you're talking about smiles and laughing the entire time that summer, and that's part of the joys of having summer baseball. The 2-0. Walsh fakes his secondary, fouled off behind us. That'll be 2-1 now after the foul ball.
Well, baseball is such a unique sport. I've always felt that the dugout is such a special place. I mean, if you really think about it, you know, there are 28, 30 guys in the dugout, and 2 Ducks are on the field playing, and they're in the dugout, and you know you're supposed to be paying attention, but there's about 14 different conversations going on down there, and the good ball clubs are talking about the game or the player, or but the relationships that you build when you're in that dugout, it's a special thing. And then you add in the bus rides, and you add in the BP. I mean, baseball, you have a full workout before you play a game, and it's just a lot of fun memories. And whether it's in season or whether it's summer season, it's good stuff.
3-1 count. Rufo, and that's going to hit off the back of Thompson. So now there's runners on first and second with no outs, as Bryce Betcher will come to the plate. Ty Saunders is still warming up in the bullpen for Portland, and now you're going to get Coach Lambert coming from the dugout for Portland, and you have to think this is probably going to be a pitching change.
Yeah, well, he's probably close to pitch count. I mean, I would imagine that, you know, in his progress, he's probably a 60 to 65 pitch guy.
And you'd be spot on. He's at 61 pitches right now.
Yeah, he's probably 60. That was probably his last hitter. And, you know, he's a work in progress. And, again, when you're a pitch guy and you've got guys with great arms like Rufo, you're going to continue to coach him up. And we've seen Ty. I mean, Ty's came in, and I remember his first opportunity here. He left the ball up and gave up some hits. But both of them have great arms and can contribute to the Pilots, and they just have to – it's still a lot of season left.
Oh, yeah.
You still got to play May. And the Pilots, I think, no doubt, are going to make it to the conference tournament. And, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of time between then and now as Ty Saunders comes in for his 4th appearance on the season on the mound, and he will be taking over for KJ Rufo. We're going to give him a couple of minutes to warm up. We'll be right back on Portland CW with Ty Saunders now on the mound for the Pilots. Welcome back to Joe Etzel Field as Ty Saunders takes over on the mound. What was a former infielder for the Pilots, now going both ways on the mound and in the field as he makes his 4th appearance on the season. He's thrown 4 1/3 innings so far with a 0-0 record. His ERA a bit ballooned because of the few amount of innings he's thrown in appearances, an 18.69 ERA. He's got 7 strikeouts to 4 walks on the season. Now he has given up 9 earned runs, 10 runs overall, and opponents are hitting .450 against him. Bryce Betcher now steps to the plate. Betcher is 0 for 1 as he struck out to end the 1st inning. That left Bennett Thompson stranded over at second. Now he has a chance for redemption. Squares to bunt, and it goes right to the backstop. It'll start out 0-1 on this at-bat. Rufo is responsible for the 2 runners on right now, but 61 pitches. He got through 2 innings of work, 5 hits. At the moment, it's 5 runs, 5 earned runs, only 1 strikeout and 3 walks.
You know, midweek, a good time to work on the bunt game. I know it's 5-1, and they're in a part of the order you don't normally see a guy bunt, but you know, that's part of the Ducks game. You know, you get a guy 1st and 2nd with no outs, you can bunt him over, and now you got a chance of getting a ground ball and at least getting 1, and it's a midweek's a good time to practice that.
Tawil was the one that was coming in from first. Scavato stayed back, mainly because the runner over at second, he would have to cover the bag if the throw went over there. The 1-1.
If he leaves it, it's a vacated bag.
Another high pitch from Saunders makes it 2-1 to Betcher. And then you've got Tolia over at first. Sort of a difficult throw for him as he would have to turn his body to get it over to third, depending on how hard this ball is bunted to him. And that's even if it's to his direction. Here's the 2-1. Saunders throws, and that's a strike at the knees, far side of the plate. 2-2 now. And now you have to think the bunt's probably going to be called off with the 2 strikes. You can have your corners play back a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll tell you that generally in bunt defense, you know, the goal is to get an out. And then the second goal is to get the lead out. And then the third goal is to not throw it into the outfield. So
instead, Saunders is going to get a big strikeout right here as he inherited 2 runners. Instead gets a strikeout to start his inning off, as Gavin Grant will now come to the plate. And it looked like an elevated fastball that Betcher just couldn't catch up to.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, nothing makes a coach's blood boil more when you get 1st and 2nd no outs and you're asked to bunt and you don't get the bunt down. And, you know, this isn't a knock on the hitter that just didn't do it. It's pretty rampant. I see it at our level and see it at a lot of different levels. You know, it's just not practiced as much as it used to be, and it has to be a it really, if you want to be a great hitter, it needs to be part of your everyday routine, because at some point the coach is going to ask you to do it, and it's important that you can do it. And the one thing I will tell you is some of the best hitters that I've ever coached coincidentally have been some of the best bunters I've ever coached. They take pride in the bunting as well.
Here's the 0-1 as Saunders looks back at Walsh, who stands on second. Squaring to bunt this one high. McCarthy gets out of his stance to get to it. It'll be 1-1. I feel like at that point it's a pride thing. As you're a solid hitter, you want to be well-rounded up at the plate. It's almost a pride as you get the bunt down. Here's the 1-1. Fouled off. 2 all right now to play. That'll put us at a 1-2 count on Grant. Grant hitting .262 on the season. Had a solo home run back in the second, and that's what boosted that lead up to 5-0 before the Pilots got a run in the bottom of the second. The 1-2. This ball put into center field. Holcroft ranges to his left. He'll make the catch on the run. Walsh will have to retreat back to second, and 2 away after the line out. There really doesn't seem to be a weak spot right now for the Ducks. Everybody's squaring up the baseball in that batting order.
Yeah, I really liked what Walsh did out there at second base. You know, with no outs, balls hit behind you, you're going to think to tag because you want to get to third with one. But with 1 out, it's 1 out extend. And you see, as soon as the ball was hit, he knew that he needed to extend it in case it got down. He's not going to tag in that situation. That's an advanced teach, college level, very advanced, maybe at the high school level teach with 1 out extend. And he didn't even hesitate. As soon as the ball was hit, he extended. And if I was coaching, I would have said, that's some good. I see that base running rep. That's a good base running rep right there.
1-0 to Nishida, who steps to the plate for the 3rd time today. He's 0 for 2. Ground out to short to Ben Pataxel as that breaking ball misses low. It's now 2-0. And then he lined out to Briley Knight in left field his last time up. One of 5 hitters in the lineup that is batting over 300 for the Ducks this season. Nishida with the 2-0 count. Saunders missing high and away, about shoulder high on the fastball, makes it 3-0. And you talk about difficulties for somebody to adjust to a different culture, and Nishida has done that, going from Japan to Mount Hood Community College and then coming to the University of Oregon down in Eugene. And he's had to deal with a couple of struggles personally as well as he takes ball 4, and that will load the bases up. You know, this is a guy who, during this past winter break, unfortunately lost his mother and had to deal with the thought of losing a parent and whether or not he wanted to continue playing baseball at the University of Oregon. But real credit goes out to his teammates because they reached out to him nonstop to let him know that, hey, we're here for you. If you want to come back, that's great. If not, we completely understand, but we're still going to be your brothers. We've got you at all times. And I think that was a big reason on why he decided to come back to Oregon, as this ball misses high to Colby Shade. It'll make it 1-0.
Yeah, you know, every team I've ever been on, almost every night they break with family, and when you say it and you mean it is when it's special. And it's pretty obvious that the Ducks are pretty tight. And even Coach Waz, I watched him give out lots of love to Rico. He'd shout him out during his press conferences while he was overseas. So
a lot of praise for him and the high character that he delivers as this ball lined into center field to Holcroft. That will end the Ducks' threat. No runs come in to score. It remains 5-1. When we return, Holcroft, Scavato, and Tawia come to the plate for the Pilots on Portland CW. Jake Holcroft leads off the Pilots here in the bottom of the third inning. Jackson Pace back on the mound for the Ducks. Holcroft, the redshirt junior from Upland, California, reached on a walk his first time up and then was left stranded over at first.
Let me get my sunglasses on. If you don't like the weather here in Portland, just wait 5 minutes.
Left mine back in the car. And, you know, this part of the day really makes it difficult on the left side of the field right now. I mean, third base, shortstop, and the left fielder are basically staring into the sun as Holcroft chops this ball over in front of the Duck dugout. It'll be 0-1. There you get a good view of it right there. You see brighter side of the field on the left side as they'll be dealing with the sun. Now they'll be the beneficiaries of a couple of clouds that'll roll in front of it as Holcroft takes ball one. It'll be 1-1.
Yeah, less than an hour ago it was windy and rainy and they were off the field, and now the sun's shining and sunny and 70 in the booth though, right?
Oh yeah, always, always. That's nice to have our own thermostat in here. The 2-1 to Holcroft. Sticks his bat out there and fouls it off to the left, 2-2. Holcroft, one of the most difficult outs in the West Coast Conference so far this season. Here's the 2-2. Fouls off another one. As he hits .355, that's 7th in the West Coast Conference this season. He's 2nd in the league with 54 hits. As I mentioned, the second toughest batter to strike out as he strikes out once every 13.8 at-bats. Here he sends a chopper over to second, and the easy play made by Gavin Grant for the first out here in the third. As Evan Scavato now steps to the plate. Scavato has gotten hot up at the dish for the Pilots over the last few series. He's taken over the RBI lead, now has 31 on the season. And Corey, I have to say that you and I have sort of gotten the short end of the stick here offensively for the Pilots this season. Out of 34 home runs, 29 of them have been on the road. Only 5 of them here at Joe Etzel Field as Scavato swings and misses there, evens the count at 1-1. And I bring that up because the man at the plate had 2 home runs down in San Diego this past week and 2 of the 10 for the Portland Pilots in that series.
They don't like you saying Yabo, I guess.
I guess so. And Scavato steps back in with the 1-1. Lays off of that last pitch. It'll be 2-1.
A little different than the shortened COVID season where you said Yabo every other.
Yeah, when they were playing in Ridgefield and out in Hillsboro.
Yeah. I think Tamaro had 10 and
Holcroft had a
some,
few,
yeah.
As Scavato swings through another one, it'll be 2-2 after that swing and miss. When I talked to Coach Loomis about Scavato, you know, and his approach at the plate and how well he's done. Here comes the 2-2. Strike 3. The delayed strikeout call. And that makes 2 away as Zach Tolia will come to the plate. But as I was about to say about Scavato and what Coach Loomis had to say about him, that one looked a little low, but framed back up by Thompson. But what Coach Loomis had to say is you're only as good as the pitches that you swing at, and it's a byproduct of hunting the pitches early in the count, and Scavato has just done such a good job of that in the early part of the last couple of series, and that's what's led to his success. As Tolia takes the 0-1, here comes the second pitch to make it 1-1. And Loomis said that's something that they practice, you know, during their BP. They're not just floating in those 45-mile-an-hour softballs as Tolia swings and misses on an inside pitch, makes it 1-2. But they're mixing up sliders in there, so you see the pitch come in, and you're not just getting fastball, fastball, fastball. You're getting multiple looks at what could be coming into the zone, and you get more familiar with the area. Here comes the 1-2. Tolia thought about chasing. They appealed down to first, and Ken Diber, the first base umpire, saying he did not go around. That'll even the count at 2-2. Bottom of the third inning, the Ducks lead 5-1 over the Pilots. The 2-2 delivery. Tolia chases and chops this one in front of the Pilot dugout. We'll go back to the 2-2 count.
Yeah, and it wasn't, you were talking about Scavato, it wasn't too long ago that he played every inning in right field, and now he's kind of, you know, played a lot of third base, and last year Pataxel, he had such a great start to the year, and defensively I would argue is one of the best in the conference for at least the first half of the year last year, and now you're seeing Pataxel all over the place, second and short and third, and a lot of moving pieces and parts with the Pilots.
Full count to Tolia, and that'll be ball 4. So the Pilots get a man aboard for the 3rd straight inning. And let's see if they can produce with 2 outs like they did back in the 2nd. As Nick Klemp, the DH today, now comes to the plate. We've talked about how Klemp was so hot to start the season against Utah Tech. He picked that up last weekend as they were down in San Diego. He had 5 extra base hits on the weekend, and he hit .545 against the Toreros. First pitch he sees in this at-bat. It's a chopper over to third. Ceballos charges it just inside the foul line and throws in time to get Klemp. As the Pilots are retired, they strand one on the bases. No runs come in to score. It remains 5-1 here at Joe Edsall Field as we head to the 4th inning. It's the middle of the lineup. Drew Cowley, Saban, Ceballos, and Tanner Smith all come to the plate next for the Ducks on Portland CW.
Welcome back to the beautiful campus of the University of Portland up on the bluff. We start the top of the 4th inning where the University of Oregon Ducks are up 5-1, and my partner Brian will take over. I tried to guess who isn't good at your job.
All right, well, we all got to get our practice reps somewhere as Drew Cowley steps into the batter's box, squares to bunt, and pulls it back, but it's called strike 1 anyways. It'll be 0-1.
That's like a catcher that just peels off his catcher's gear and goes out to the mound. It's a very uncomfortable situation, and you're so darn good at what you do. And
well, it comes, like I said, it comes with all the reps that I've been able to do over the last few years, especially here at Joe Edsall Field. As Cowley falls behind 0-2 now, Saunders quickly moves on from the rubber. It'll be high and away for ball 1, makes it 1-2. Cowley does not have an official at-bat on the day. He walked in the 1st inning, came around to score, and then his last at-bat, he actually got plunked by KJ Rufo. Gets back into this count, 2-2 after that last ball from Saunders. And that's a strikeout to start off this 4th inning, 1 away. The Pilots have gotten the first out right away a couple of times already, and another elevated fastball looked like by Saunders beating the hitter.
Yeah, and out over that white line, and Saunders is, like I said, we saw him pitch early in the year, and he's just gotten better and better and better, and he's got a great arm, and as long as you're down in the zone and you start bats, you do well. And starting with a first pitch strike, 1-0, there's just such a huge difference between a hitter sitting 1-0 and sitting 0-1.
The 0-1 to Ceballos. That one's high, pops out of the glove of McCarthy for a ball, makes it 1-1.
But I'll tell you what, I really like the look of Ceballos. He's a good-looking athlete. He, defensively, he's made some plays early. I love how he ended the inning.
He's a big body. He stands at 6'3", 225. Again, he was ranked the number 5 junior college transfer this past year. Here's the 2-1 count. Wind-up delivery from Saunders high on a fastball above the letters makes it 3-1 on Ceballos.
Yeah, he's okay. He's 9 home runs and 38 hits, slugging .697. Yeah, he looks like a big leaguer out there. Good looking carcass, and
there he puts a drive into one out in the left field. Knight is going to watch it go over the fence, over the yellow tape, and the second solo home run for the Ducks today. And they now lead 6-1. Make it home run number 10 there, Corey. Have to think this kid's going to be getting some looks going forward without any doubt.
There's no doubt. He just buggy whipped that ball right out of the yard. And take a look here. I don't even think it's a good pitch. Yeah, it's down and a little away.
Down and away, and he still was able to turn on it and get it over in the left field.
Yeah, he didn't miss that ball, that's for sure. And it wasn't a bad pitch. It's a tough deal. You know, Saunders executes a pitch down, and you know, you're talking about a plus athlete that hits a pitch that's down, and like I said, just buggy whipped it right out of the yard.
Well, now Tanner Smith steps to the plate. Smith is 1 for 2 as he fouls this ball off to our left to even the count at 1-1. Had a 2 RBI double in the first, which made him the all-time career RBI leader in Oregon Duck history. And then he flew out to Jake Holcroft back in the second inning. Takes ball 2 here as this one ends up in the right-handed batter's box, 2-1. Smith comes from Newport Beach, California, as he takes ball 3 to make it 3-1. Smith drives one into center field. Holcroft dropping back. Now he backs pedals to the warning track, and he makes the catch in deep center field for the second out of this inning. That'll bring up the first baseman, Jacob Walsh, who doubled his last time up to right field. Comes to the plate with 2 outs and nobody on. He's 1 for 2 today. He flew out into shallow center field where Ben Pataxa was able to make the play. First pitch breaking ball from Saunders called a strike. It's 0-1. And then, as I said, Walsh doubled his last time up in the third. He was left stranded over at second, though. No call on that one. It'll be 1-1. Inside, missing the plate. A little above the bell. It'll be 2-1. I mean, Walsh stands at 6'4", 225. So your corner infielders right now, 6'3", 225, 6'4", 225. Missing low and out of the zone. It'll be 3-1 now after that last pitch from Saunders.
Yeah, I really liked Walsh in infield, outfield. You know, he plays first base, left-handed, and he moves around like a shortstop from the left side.
High fly ball into center. Holcroft reaching out for the fence in center field, and he'll make the catch on the warning track. So a couple of loud outs to end the fourth, but 1 run does come in to score thanks to a solo home run by Sabin Ceballos. And now the Ducks lead 6-1 as we head to the bottom of the fourth. Knight, Mensch, and Sukata all come to the plate next for the Pilots on Portland CW. Well, what was sunshine a few innings ago, met by rain, then some more sunshine. We've got some dark clouds coming in here at Joe Edsall Field, as we've already dealt with a brief 10-minute rain delay. As it's 6-1 in favor of the Ducks in the bottom of the 4th inning. Jackson Pace back out on the mound for another inning of work. And we'll be near the middle of the lineup as Briley Knight, who bats 6th in the order, will lead things off. He has one of the Pilots' 3 hits on the day. He got the first hit for the Pilots back in the 2nd inning, and he's the only run to come in and score today.
Leading off the bottom of the 4th inning for the Pilots, the left fielder, number 14, Briley Knight.
Let's go, Briley!
Wind has sort of died down as well, Corey. We were dealing with about 13-mile-an-hour winds to start off this game. And looking at that flag out in center field, it certainly died down. First pitch to Knight. Looked a bit off the plate, but called a strike by the home plate umpire, Tyler Wall. Next pitch to Knight. He chases one that's near the dirt, now falls behind 0-2. Knight hitting just a hair under 300 on the season. Here's a roller over to first, played by Walsh. He'll step on the bag himself. 3 unassisted in the scorebook, and that's the first out here in the bottom of the 4th. Well, the Pilots have had a little success so far in the 2nd inning. Corey, how would you say their approach has been up at the plate? It seems like Pace has been mixing up his pitches pretty well and keeping the Pilots on their toes.
No doubt, no doubt. You know, he started the 1st inning being a little effective wild, and that helped him. And the Pilots have gone on early pitches and done what Mensch just did. You went on an early pitch, is a little bit elevated and popped it up. And I really believe when you're down that it's very important that you see some pitches and try to make some things happen, especially if you're the leadoff hitter of the inning.
Well, we talked about how Rufo met his pitch count back in the 3rd inning. He was at 61 pitches. Pace now here coming into the 4th. Here's a bunt by Sukata, fielded by Pace, and the flip over, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. But I was about to say Pace is only at 51 pitches so far in this game as we head to the 5th inning. Coming to the plate for the Ducks, it's the bottom of the order. Bennett, Thompson, Bryce Betcher, and Gavin Grant come to the plate next on Portland CW. Welcome back to Joe Etzel Field. Brian Slack and Corey Cure with your call as it's a 6-1 lead right now for the Oregon Ducks in the top of the 5th inning. And coming to the plate, it'll be Bennett Thompson to lead things off. And right now the Pilots bats have quickly there in the bottom half of the 4th inning, 1-2-3, and they really have not had a good feel for Jackson Pace on the mound and really getting that offense going. And we actually... Yes, it will be Thompson who comes to the plate. He's 1 for 1 today. As he fouls off the first pitch he sees from Saunders. It'll be 0-1. Thompson, though, had the 2 RBI double in the first that made it 4-0 in favor of the Ducks. And then he got hit by a pitch back in the 3rd where he was left stranded over at 2nd. The 0-1 missing into the left-handed batter's box makes it a 1-1 count now.
Saunders has done a really good job of getting one of the first 2 pitches to be a strike, and he started him out strike 1, and then now he's ball, and now he'll be back in the strike zone.
Ball hit into center field towards the gap. Holcroft ranging to his right makes the catch in front of the pilot wheel, and there's 1 out after the fly out. And I think we've talked about that so many times, how key it is to get that first pitch strike on a batter because it sets the tone for the rest of the at-bat.
Yeah, and I actually like one of the first 2 pitches because, you know, you're not always going to get that first one landed, but you definitely want to be in the strike zone early, and it just changes the at-bat. You know, he's 0-1, again, gets the first pitch. You don't know what's coming. It could be breaking ball, it could be changeup, it could be fastball, it could be shake to fastball.
Betcher gets one off the end of the bat, fielded by Saunders off the mound, and Betcher now 0 for 3 on the day.
It really gives you an advantage, and he threw slider right there, and Betcher thought it was going to be a fastball. One thing about slider, it gets out that same tunnel, and he thought it was fastball, got it off the handle, and, you know, 2 pitches, and here he is. Saunders has thrown 4 pitches in the inning, or excuse me, 5.
Gavin Grant comes to the plate. He's 1 for 2 today. Had a solo home run to lead off the second inning for the Ducks as he takes strike 1 inside just above the knees, 0-1. And then he lined out to Jake Holcroft into center field back in the 3rd inning. And we've seen quite a few plays by Holcroft out in center because the Ducks are on top of the pitches right now coming from the Pilot Arms. The 1-1 squaring to bunt, pulls it back. Grant gets called for a strike. It's 1-2. It's one of those moments trying to catch the corner sleeping. Scavata was playing behind third right there. Here's the 1-2. Swung on and missed. Another 1-2-3 inning. This time it's for the Ducks. As we head to the bottom of the 5th inning, Riley McCarthy leads things off for the Pilots. That's the top of the lineup to Ben Pataxel and Jake Holcroft, all when we return on Portland CW. Welcome back to Joe Edsall Field. Brian Syke and Corey Keir on the call as we welcome you back for the bottom of the 5th inning. It's a 6-1 lead currently for the Oregon Ducks. As Riley McCarthy, who has the only RBI for the day for the Pilots, will start things off here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And the Pilot bats have been a little bit dormant. They have 3 hits. They all came in the 2nd inning in a 4-batter span. It was a single by Knight. Mensch flew out, and then a single by Sukata and a single by McCarthy, and that's all the hits so far for the Pilots. As Jackson Pace has done a terrific job on the mound, only at 50 pitches, or 51 pitches, I should say, through 4 innings of work.
McCarthy's on house money here. He got a little single up the middle off the handle, and now he can, you know, what he needs to do is put an at-bat together and try to get on base and try to get something going.
Looked like a curveball there to start him out 0-1. McCarthy's picked up his average. He's now hitting .267 as he sends a ground ball foul down the first baseline. Falls behind 0-2 in the count. 8 hits on the year and 30 at-bats. He's driven in 5 RBI. And just a couple weeks ago, he only had 2 hits. He's picked it up quite a bit. Here's a ground ball chopper over towards short. Gloved by Cowley. Comes up throwing, and that'll get McCarthy out over at first. 1 away to start off the bottom of the 5th. Well, let's see if the Pilots will be A-OK after this at-bat by Pataxel as they are trailing by 5. Pataxel so far today is 0 for 2 as he's grounded out to third, and then he also struck out swinging in his last at-bat. Comes up empty on that swing. It'll be 0-1. Pilots top of the order, first 4 batters on the day, as Pataxel now falls behind 0-2. Have combined 0 for 6 with a couple of walks. Pataxel takes ball 1 as that one was spiked into the dirt. It'll be 1-2. Rain starting to fall again here at Joe Etzel Field. It's been on and off all day as Pataxel puts one down the right field line. It's going away from Betcher, and that one's going to drop in fair territory into the corner. Pataxel looking at his coach. He's going to stop at second as Gavin Grant cuts off the throw from Betcher, and it's a 1-out double for Pataxel. He was looking like he wanted to go for 3 right there. He might have had an opportunity, but instead doesn't want to gamble with 1 out already. He'll stay at second, but a nice piece of hitting right there.
Yeah, great piece of hitting. Ball in the outer half, elevated. Pataxel stayed through it, and 100% he was going for third, and the third base coach stopped him. With 1 out, the Pilots are always trying to get to third base. You do everything you can as a baseball player to get to third base with 1 out because there's 13 ways to score. So he was thinking third, but the base coach stopped him.
Pace puts a strike on the outside part of the plate near the knees of Holcroft to start him out 0-1. Holcroft is 0 for 1 today. He walked in the first, and then he grounded out to second, and his at-bat in the third. Got one near the end of the bat on the far side of the plate. 0-2 now to Holcroft. Now, if you're a pitcher, you think you've got the best of Holcroft when he's behind 0-2 in the count, but he's one of the toughest outs in the conference as he only strikes out once at about every 14 at-bats. The 0-2. Fastball low that Holcroft sends foul out of play, and that'll roll over to the Childs center. It's 0-2.
Yeah, he does a really good job of flagging off pitches and, working the count. He flagged off 2, and now it's probably going to be a ball off the plate that he takes and works it to 2-2, 3-2, and then sometimes finds hits. And I'll tell you what, you become a great hitter when you can hit anything.
Ground ball to the right side. It's going to be fielded by Walsh. Flip over to Pace. He'll step on first, covering the bag. Moving over to third is Pataxel. And now there's 2 away after the ground out. Not exactly what Holcroft wanted, but still a productive out, moving that man over to now only 90 feet away from scoring.
Yeah, when you're coaching at the Division I level and you're in a nice field and you have really bright white balls, you don't care if your players hit them off the field, but a guy like Holcroft cost me $50 up in it ends up in the ivy, and we got to go through the bushes and find it. So, yeah. Go ahead and strike out. Come back, son. We can save some money here.
Devin Scavato steps to the plate. First pitch he sees ends up in the left-handed batter's box. It'll be 1-0. Scavato's 0 for 2 today, as he flew out to center field to Colby Shade back in the first, and then he struck out looking in the third. He's had one of the hotter bats, though, in this lineup for Portland as of late. Swings through that one, what looked to be a breaking ball. It'll be 1-1.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've only played 4 games at home this year, and it's been such a miserable, wet year. And that series we're at home, a ball flew back into the, I don't even know what they're called, rhododendrons or ivy or whatever.
Chopper over to third. Ceballos stays back on it. Low throw taken in by Walsh. We'll pick that up when we get back as Scavato's thrown out. Pilots strand a runner on. No runs come in to score. We head to the 6th inning in a 6-1 bowl game. It's the top of the order for the Ducks. Nishida, Shade, and Cowley coming to the plate next on Portland CW. The rain falling again here in Portland, Oregon, as the Ducks lead 6-1 over the Portland Pilots here at Joe Etzel Field. Brian Syke and Corey Kier with the call. And man, you really have to bring a travel bag if you're going to be coming to one of these games. Extra pair of dry clothes, maybe an umbrella. Get the sunglasses out as well, because the weather's changed quite a bit a couple of times already here in just about an hour and a half of play. Squaring to bunt, it's Nishida down the third baseline. It's going to be touched by Scavato in foul territory, 0-1.
Yeah, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. That's just kind of how it's been.
This game started at 5. We've already gone through about a 10-minute rain delay as well, and that happened, I believe, back in the second inning.
Today, before I came, a news reporter from Eugene came out to Mount Hood and interviewed a few Mount Hood people about Riku Nishida.
As he puts one into the air, Holcroft now goes over to his left into right center field and makes the fly ball catch.
And knowing that he was coming and that they were going to interview me about him, in my experience being around him, I reached out to the former head coach Brian Donahue and just got some stories, and obviously Brian Burris, the guy that was a head coach at Cowlitz, and it was fun to hear Coach Donahue talk about when he picked up Riku from the airport. It's the first Japanese player to ever played for Mount Hood, Riku Nishida, and Toma Marasi, a left-handed pitcher that we also coached. And he said that he was in his car and he reached in the back seat and there was a spiral notebook there, and he ripped it off and he put Toma and Riku on it, and then went up there and stood like he was a limo driver. And here they come, and yeah.
He became their chauffeur?
Yeah. Picked him up from the airport, and
the rest is history there as this ball put over near the cars down the right field line, so it'll be 2-1 to Colby Shade after the foul ball.
And now there's Japanese baseball players all around the NWAC. The person that funnels them kind of our way, a man named Shinju. He has sent us 3. We have 3 incredible Japanese baseball players from Japan. We have a catcher and 2 arms, and yeah, it's just it's really changed here in the Northwest, and like I said, with Riku getting pretty famous, it's even getting better. So
I was going to say, it's not normal for somebody to come over from Japan to come play collegiate baseball. Usually, Japan has their own system and everything else like that, coming up with the Nippon Baseball League as well. But it seemed a bit different to have Nishida go to Mount Hood Community College straight from Japan, as this ball popped up into that triangle area behind first base. Sukata calls off Tolia, and he makes the catch in fair territory, and now there's 2 away.
Yeah, back in 19, Shinju came through with about 14 ball players, and he had placed a player at Clackamas and a player at SWAC, and he called up Coach Donahue and said, hey, we're going to play you, and you take a look at our players. And I guess Riku hit a ground ball. Riku started second base, and Riku hit a ground ball to the shortstop in the first inning there, and almost beat it out. And Coach says, wow, he can really run. And then they finished the game with Toma on the mound, and Toma was pretty filthy. And so he says, I'll take the first guy and the last guy, and then the rest is history. So
the 0-1 to Drew Cowley. Cowley's 0 for 1 on the day, even though this is his 4th at-bat. He's walked, he got hit by a pitch, but his most recent at-bat, he struck out swinging to start off the 4th inning. The 1-1 from Saunders. One hopper over to Sukata as he drops down to one knee, and the throw over to first in time. Tolia keeps his foot on the bag, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for the second consecutive inning for the Ducks as we head to the bottom of the 6th. Coming to the plate for the Pilots, Tolia, Klemp, and Knight are all due up when we return on Portland CW. Jackson Pace out for a 6th inning of work as the freshman has kept the Pilots in check for most of the day. He's only surrendered 4 hits, 1 run so far through the first 5 innings. As the Pilots will be sending up Zach Tolia, which will be his 3rd at-bat of the day. And right now the Ducks have just been playing solid ball defensively. They haven't made any mistakes, but give credit to Jackson Pace. He's induced a lot of ground balls and hasn't really allowed Portland to get anything going offensively.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. And, you know, that's what this midweek game is. You know, the freshman kids, they come in and they pitch a little bit, maybe an inning here and an inning there early in the season, midweek, and then as the season progresses and then a guy like Jackson gets this opportunity to start, and, you know, he's gone out there and done a really good job.
First pitch to Tolia inside over the white of the right-handed batter's box. It'll be 1-0.
The other guy's done a really good job, and he hasn't been out there long enough for me to say it, is Ty Saunders. I mean, Ty came in, and he's just attacked the strike zone and gotten outs and done a really good job.
Yeah, so far on the day for Saunders on the mound, I mean, he's gone through 4 innings of work now. He's only allowed 1 hit, which was a home run. 3 strikeouts to just 1 walk. Tolia fouls off another one. This one ends up into the dugout, and Pilots paying attention there as nobody got hit by that one. It'll be 1-2 now to Tolia.
Oh, the guy in the back of the dugout that went in for some snacks got smoked when he wasn't looking. That's why you stay on the fence.
The 1-2 into the dirt. That'll even the count at 2-2.
Yeah, and you know, Saunders in this situation, and you know, he's pitched 4 innings, and I'd be willing to bet he's pitched under 40 pitches would be my guess. And it's big because the Pilots have a big series coming up, and the last thing they want to do is use the whole bullpen to get through a Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Eating up 4 innings as Tolia is going to put this one into right center field. That'll drop, and making its way into deep center field, it's going to be Shade who makes the play, and that's a leadoff double for Zach Tolia as he slides past the bag at second. Good thing he kept his hands on there with the rainy weather. Became a slip and slide over at second. Another look at it, and it looked like an elevated pitch on the outside part of the plate.
Just like Pataxil's ball, it was elevated. It was on the outer half. Now, his ball was a little bit more on the plate. He hit it to the right center gap where Pataxil's was off the plate, and he hit it to the corner. But I also like the way he ran the bases. Out of the box, he was going to get a double, and you know, I don't think he had to go after Burner, but he did, and that's good.
Nick Klemp comes to the plate. He's 0 for 2 today after hitting .545 against San Diego this past weekend. First pitch is a ball in the left-handed batter's box. It's 1-0.
Man, after this horrible winter, they go down there and he hits .545. I think I would have stayed if I was. Need some sun.
The 1-0. Swings, it goes off the glove of Thompson. It'll be 1-1. Yeah, thinking back about all the games that we've had, you know, we've had a lot of rainy weather during our homestand here. I mean, basically through that first half of March, we might have had 1 or 2 games where we didn't have to deal with any bad weather.
I think we had 1 game that was quite warm, and then other than that, it's just been raining.
Yeah. Klemp goes after the off speed, fouls it back into the netting, 1-2.
Well, and you know, the benefit of being down in San Diego, one of the best burgers on the West Coast is down there in Ocean Beach and Hodad's. And if you've ever been to San Diego, you got to get down to Hodad's and Ocean Beach. Have yourself a burger.
The 1-2. Klemp fouls it off into the glove of Thompson. He goes down with a strikeout. He's now 0 for 3 today. And that'll bring up Briley Knight, who's 1 for 2 with a single and a ground out over to Jacob Walsh over at first. So you say it's Hodaddy's?
It's just called Hodad's. And
Hodad's, okay.
Yeah, and you get there at, man, I'll tell you what, it's hard to get there without a line going around it. And it isn't like a Dick's Burger from Seattle or an In-N-Out. It's a full-fledged, big, giant burger, sit-down bar type experience, and it's pretty good.
And this one will drop in front of Betcher out in right field. Tolia will stop at third, and Knight picks up his 2nd hit of the day. And now there's runners on the corners for Portland with only 1 out. And that'll bring up Henry Mensch, who's 0 for 2 today.
Great swing there by Briley Knight, and you get a chance to take a look at this, just a really good swing to the right center gap. And Tolia was doing his job seeing the baseball, but he thought that the right fielder had a chance to catch that, and so he held up and didn't score in that situation.
I wouldn't be shocked to see Knight move here, possibly take the double play ball. And doesn't even matter. Mensch got hit in the elbow, so he will stand over at first, and now the bases are loaded for the Pilots. And I was just going to say, try to avoid that double play opportunity in case there was a ground ball, but now it doesn't even matter as Jake Sukata comes to the plate.
Yeah, and the cool thing about baseball is you're a couple doubles away from being right in this ball game right now, and it's that rope-a-dope effect that we talked about. Is they score early, and then the Ducks start hitting big, long fly balls, getting a little big with their swings, and only score 2 runs over the next 4 innings. And it looks like we're going to have a visit out here on the mound. They sent someone to the bullpen, so they're going to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, they're just bringing the infield in right now, slow things down on the mound as a pack of ducks just went down. A flock of ducks, I guess I should say, down over to the bullpen. And now we're going to have a coach go out to the mound for the Ducks.
Yeah, they headed south down to the bullpen.
Yep.
Such a bad dad joke. I'm sorry. The older I get, the dumber my dad jokes
Well,
get.
that's usually how it goes, right?
Yeah.
You refine your dad jokes as you get older.
Yeah.
Perfect them.
Yeah, and the dumbest things is funnier as you get older.
Yeah, to you.
Yeah.
Right, to the person who's saying
exactly.
it,
You just feel so witty that I said that flock of ducks is going south to the bullpen, you know? So, yeah, he's probably getting close to pitch count. Coach probably realized he wanted to get his guy down there warmed. Definitely doesn't want to have this turn into something bigger than it needs to be when he's had such a great start. This is when you put that freshman out there and you're feeling lots of pride as the pitching coach, and what you don't want to do is have him finish giving up 3 or 4 runs. You want to hopefully get a 2-ball here and get out of this if you're the Ducks pitching coach.
Sukata takes a strike on the far side of the plate to start off this at-bat 0-1. 1 for 2 today, had a single back in the second. He was left stranded over at third, and then he grounded out to Pace in his last at-bat back in the 4th inning. Sukata, no chase, and the ball that ends up in the right-handed batter's box, 1-1. Well, 3 Pilots out on the water right now. Tolia over at third, Knight over at second, Mensch is over at first after he got hit by a pitch. You see the infield drawn in just a little bit as Sukata chopper over to second on the up hop, and unable to make a clean play on it is Gavin Grant, and all runners are going to be safe. Tolia will come in and score. Now Howard, you're probably going to mark that down as an error. Or is that too hot of a ball over there?
Coach Loomis is trying to get some clarification on the contact that Mensch.
Because he was running towards second, and the second baseman got in his way.
Yeah. That's a tough ball there because, I feel like he came up to try to get the short hop. I will tell you that they probably would have got nothing if he stayed back. It was a tweener ball. If he stayed back, maybe there's a chance they can get Sukata at first base. But he came to get that short hop. Now, what Coach Loomis is going to say is that there's contact and he's looking for an extra 90 feet, but what the umpire is probably telling him is that he was going nowhere because probably Knight was going nowhere. But, yeah, it's an interesting argument.
And right now they're going to say that was an error on the second baseman.
Yeah.
And it was a difficult play for him, as you mentioned. He took it on that short hop.
You'll see it's a high chopper, and he was going to get a horrible up hop. Honestly, I don't think there's much he could have done, to be honest with you. I feel like he did exactly what you'd ask a kid to. If you're going to get that horrible up hop, he tried to glove it and play through the ball and keep it in front. Now, if he stays back, everybody's safe. So he took the chance of being able to glove it and get the out at first base.
And that's when you can't fault the kid for trying to make a play right there. So, still only 1 out. Bases are loaded as Riley McCarthy comes to the plate. Chopper over to third. It goes foul. Ceballos unable to touch it, but it stays foul. It'll be 0-1 on McCarthy.
Now, don't hit it there. That's the one place you don't want to hit it. As a matter of fact, I'm just a big believer in you don't hit ground balls to third base ever. There's never anything positive out of it, and the guy they got playing out there is pretty darn good. So stay out of that area, especially early in the count.
The 0-1. McCarthy lays off of that one on a close pitch just out of the zone, makes it 1-1. Knight's over at third, Mensch at second, Sukata's over at first. This could be the start of a big inning for Portland. They've already won the 6th with getting 1 run across. They now trail 6-2. McCarthy, another ground ball. This time it's over to third, and Ceballos drops it, goes off of his glove, tried to make the play over at third, moved too quickly. Instead, he drops it. That'll be another error that brings in a run for Portland, as McCarthy is safe over at first.
Yeah, similar situation, gets an up hop, and really probably should have just pushed through it and got the out at third. Tried to do some fancy footwork, and the ball scribbled out on him when he did it. You'll see here. One thing about the artificial surface is you get a crazy up hop.
And he never even had it in his glove. It looked like he got it off the heel right there.
Yeah, it's a tough one because when you're playing back like that, the rule is if it's at you or towards third, you go to third. If it's straight at you, you're going to go up the middle, and if it ranges, you're going to go up the middle. And that one really was tough. Like, even if he gets the up hop, as we're going to have a visit from the pitching coach, I think the night is done for the arm. Even if he gets the tough up hop, just like out there, at best he's going to get a guy at third base. So
yeah, you have to get at least one out right there if you're the Ducks.
Yeah, you're in the outs game. I mean, when you got a 6-1 lead and there's limited outs as the game's going on, both those plays you would hope if you stayed back you get an out. I think the first play at second base, no chance at any out, where the third baseman there could have probably got the out at third, but in comes some new guy to get her going.
A new arm on the mound for the Ducks. And we'll be right back with the new arm. It's 6-3 in favor of Portland. The bases are loaded with only one out here in the bottom of the sixth. We'll be right back on Portland CW. Pitching change for the Oregon Ducks here in the bottom of the sixth inning, and the Pilots have crept ever closer as they now trail 6-3. The new man on the mound is Austin Anderson as he makes his 14th appearance on the season. He has a 3-0 record with a 0.55 ERA. There's 16 and a third innings of work. He's allowed 3 hits, only 1 earned run. He's got 23 strikeouts to 14 walks, and opponents are hitting .058 against him so far this season, and this has been a very productive arm out of the bullpen for the Oregon Ducks this season, Corey.
Yeah, Austin Anderson's played at junior college down south called Umpqua Community College. I actually just came from there this weekend, and he was one of their top arms last year, and has moved on to play for the Ducks. And one of their other top arms, Carson Angeroth, who was on our squad with Riku and Mancha, he's pitching at over at Utah Tech.
Okay.
So, yeah, so Umpqua has a very good program. Jeremiah Robbins, who was a longtime head coach over at Lewis and Clark State, won a bunch of national titles, went home to his hometown and opened up Umpqua Community College, and he's having some success there, as you know he would be.
First pitch to Ben Pataxel is called a strike. It'll be 0-1. As Corey just mentioned, Anderson comes from Umpqua Community College. Originally comes from Roseburg, Oregon. He was named second team South Division All-NWAC last season as Pataxel spins out of the way of that last pitch, but called a strike as it broke into the zone. It's 0-2. Made 12 appearances last season for Umpqua, went 2-0 with 3 saves and a 0.68 ERA. And Pataxel will go down on 3 straight pitches. And now there's 2 away with the bases loaded. As Jake Holcroft will come to the plate for the 4th time today. He's 0 for 2 with a walk back in the first inning.
At some point, we're going to get to hear that word Yabo, and I haven't seen Holcroft hit one this year, so
Oh, he's hit quite a few of them, just part of those 29 that have been away from home as this ball bounced in front of the plate. It's gloved by Thompson. It'll be 1-0 to start off Holcroft. Holcroft has 7 home runs. That leads everybody on the Pilots squad. But again, it goes back to those 29 home runs away from home, only 5 inside the confines of Joe Edsall Field. Breaking ball out of the zone, far side away from Holcroft, makes the count 2-0.
You know, you're talking about Umpqua Community College. They have a really great facility down there. They play at Doc Stewart's, which is the Legion Field there. And one of the things I remember about last year in this arm is that they played in a 21-inning game versus Lower Columbia to get into the NWAC tournament. And I picked it up at inning 12, and it was it was a heck of a game. So yeah, 21 innings.
Holcroft takes strike 1 there. It'll be 3-1. Now, what's the longest game you've ever been a part of?
The longest game I've been a part of was a Cowlitz Black Bear game with Riku and these guys.
Holcroft, ground ball up the middle. We'll get back to that one. Mensch is going to score. Sukata rounds third. He's going to come in and score. McCarthy stays put at second. And it's a 2 RBI single for Jake Holcroft, and the Pilots are back in it. They trail 6-5.
Exactly what we talked about, just a little rope-a-dope, hang around, win an inning here, tie an inning here, and get some guys on and make some key hits, and it's a one-run ball game. And like I said, you know, when you're a baseball player, you have to, or a baseball team, you have to have a wrestler mentality. You're going to get thrown on your back every once in a while, and you can't just roll over and get pinned. Good piece of hitting right up the box.
And we're going to have a pinch runner now. It's going to be Ethan Lovelace who comes in to pinch run for Riley McCarthy, so you have to think that Klemp is going to move behind the plate. And then McCarthy's spot will become the DH most likely as Evan Scavato steps to the plate.
Yeah, not sure they can do that. I think that you'll see someone else catch. If you have Klemp catching, I don't know how they're going to eliminate the DH unless you put Saunders in the game, which is highly possible. But right now, Klemp's DHing for Saunders. So
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so they're going to the next catcher, which we might see the young buck over from
Tyler Howard. Yeah.
Tyler Howard, and he's a good player. A good player. It's a midweek game, a one-run game, and looks like we're going to get a chance to see Tyler Howard.
So Scavato takes first pitch ball. It'll be 1-0. Talia, who led off this inning, is on deck right now. This is the 9th batter of this inning for Portland as they've put up a 4 spot. And now trails 6-5. Breaking ball drops in there for a strike on Scavato, makes it 1-1. Pace got through 5 1/3 innings of work. He's allowed 6 hits, 5 runs. 2 of those were earned. Anderson took over with 1 out here in the inning. Scavato lays off the breaking ball. It's very similar to that last pitch, but this time called the ball 2-1. Tying run is on second. That's Ethan Lovelace. Holcroft is a go-ahead run over at first. Scavato, who's been leading this team in RBI this season, has 31. Lays off the low pitch to go ahead in the count, 3-1. Anderson gets set from the third base side of the rubber. He'll come home with it and into the dirt. That'll be a walk for Scavato. And now the bases are back to being loaded. Scavato over at first, Holcroft over at second. McCarthy, which is now Lovelace, moves over to third. And that'll bring up Zach Talia, who doubled to start off this inning into the right center field gap. Talia, the transfer from the University of Utah, coming from Gig Harbor, takes a strike right there in this at-bat. Starts out 0-1. On the day, he's 1 for 2. Had a walk in the third, had that double as we already discussed already in this 6th inning, and then he flew out to right field back in the 1st inning. Ground ball over to the third. Ceballos takes it back behind the bag at third and gets Talia over out at first, but the Pilots, they put up 4 runs in the bottom of the 6th, and they've gotten right back into this one. They now trail 6-5 thanks to a couple hits from Talia and Knight And benefits of a couple of errors, the Pilots are back into this one as they trail 6-5 heading into the 7th. Leading things off, Ceballos, Smith, and Walsh all come to the plate next for the Oregon Ducks. Welcome back to Joe Edsall Field, and we've got ourselves a ball game now here as we enter the 7th inning. It's 6-5 in favor of Oregon. There's a couple new players out on the mound. It's Brock Gillis, normally a starter during the weekend as he makes his 10th appearance on the season, has a 2-2 record with a 4.47 ERA. Now his innings is getting up there. He's thrown 44 1/3, given up 43 hits, 22 earned runs. And he has a 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, 48 strikeouts to just 24 walks. Opponents are hitting .250 against him this season. So this is kind of a different moment for Gillis. Let's see if he can thrive in this bullpen situation.
Well, he didn't pitch much this weekend. You know, I'd asked you, you know, I thought maybe he was hurt because I noticed that he didn't pitch, but he did pitch a little bit this weekend.
A couple innings.
And I think that's what they're doing is they're getting him a little bit more work here tonight because he didn't pitch much over the weekend.
Sabin Ceballos leads things off here in the 7th as the Ducks hold on to their 1-run lead as Gillis missing high to Ceballos to start him out 1-0. Ceballos on the day is 1 for 2, has a home run and a walk. He came around to score twice. The only time he hasn't reached base is when he popped out into foul territory to Zach Tolia. Here he takes a strike to even the count at 1-1.
And as we spoke about, Tyler Howard from Skyview High School just across the river here is in behind the dish now.
Ground ball over to short. Pataxel spins behind the bag at second, and a laser over to first gets Ceballos. And there's one away. That was very Chad Stevens-esque.
It's funny because I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking that that was a poor man Chad Stevens because the ball where that infamous
Stevens
play.
would have been behind the bag at second, but still a great play by Pataxel to range to his left, spin, and make that throw over to first.
Well, it's a great feel for the baseball, too. The ball took him glove side, took him to the spin, and he did it. He didn't force the spin. The key in that is if it bounces and you get it in front, then you're going to go ahead and rake your glove and go front side. But the ball bounced, and he spun and made it look pretty.
Tanner Smith now steps to the plate. He's 1 for 3 today, with a 2 RBI double back in the first, which gave him the all-time record for most RBI in Oregon Duck history from a single player.
I'll tell you what, both Tanner and
Smith takes a ball there. It'll be 1-2. Ceballos?
No, sorry, Tanner and Briley Knight, two similar physicalities, and both wear pretty tight uniforms, so they look pretty physical.
Strikeout for Tanner Smith, 2 away. Gillis doing some quick work right now with the Ducks here in the 7th, and that'll bring up Jacob Walsh, who's 1 for 3 today with a double and a couple of flyouts. And Gillis right there challenging with, again, another elevated fastball.
Well, and they're teammates at Corvallis because Tanner plays for the Knights, and obviously Briley plays for the Knights, so they've spent some time together in the dugout and on the bus. Starts out with a strike on Walsh. It'll be 0-1. Now, you're thinking they're talking about
tight uniforms, got to oil up the arms a little bit, make it pop at the plate. The 0-1 high above the letters, out of the zone. That'll make it a 1-1 count.
Both of them look like they're wrestling like 178. Olympic wrestlers are both pretty physical guys.
The 1-1. Walsh takes strike 2 on a fastball away at the knees. It's 1-2. You know, despite all the weather that we've had today, there's still quite a few people here at the ballpark. The 1-2, no chase from Walsh. Thought about it, held the bat on his shoulder, 2-2. But the rain's been on and off. We even see some dark clouds out beyond center field right now, so you know the rain will be coming back around. There you get a good look at it. So you see some of the lights just pop on here at the Ets, and another strikeout for Gillis. 1, 2, 3. That's 9 straight outs for the Ducks up at the plate as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Get up and stretch. Nick Klemp will lead us off, followed by Briley Knight and Henry Mensch when we return on Portland CW. New pitcher on the mound for the Ducks. It was a brief stint for Anderson as he went 2/3 of an inning to get pace out of a jam in the 6th inning. And now the lefty steps on for the 7th inning. That's going to be Grayson Grinzel. Grinzel, a freshman from Reno, Nevada, comes on. So he makes his 14th appearance, has a 1-0 record with a 4.05 ERA with 1 save already this year. Thrown 20 innings of work, 15 hits, 9 earned runs. 28 strikeouts to just 8 walks right now, and opponents are hitting 200 against him. So he too has been effective for the Ducks out of the bullpen, and he looks to close the door on the Pilots here in the late stages of this one as the Pilots trail 6-5 in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Yeah, I still can't get over what a great job Ty Saunders did tonight. He's really coming along as a pitcher, and just exactly what you'd expect from what Coach Lambert has been able to do with some of these position guys, and he's just becoming more and more polished and ate up some innings, kept them around, and then, like we talked about from the very beginning, a little, Ollie, a little rope-a-dope, and take a beating early and then wear them out, and now you're in the ball game, and it's going to get exciting here, I think.
Yeah, close one, much closer than the last time these two teams faced off earlier in April against, or I should say down in Eugene, when it was a 9-1 victory for the Ducks as Klemp swings and fouls one off into the glove of Bennett Thompson behind the plate. 0-1. Grinzel, again, a freshman from Reno, Nevada, went to Reno High School. Here he pitches one outside in the left-handed batter's box, makes it 1-1 on Klemp. Was the 2022 Nevada Pitcher of the Year. He threw 34 1/3 innings, striking out 69 during that time with a 1.02 ERA as Klemp fouls off the pitch into the netting behind home plate. It's 1-2.
Wow, that's crazy. Did you say 69 and 34?
And that is correct.
Wow, that's good.
As he sets up on the third base side of the rubber. Klemp is going to put this one into right field. Picks up another hit. And the leadoff man is aboard for Portland. And that'll bring up Briley Knight.
Good piece of hitting there. Pilots have really handled the outer half of the plate well tonight. If it gets elevated and it's in the outer half, they shot it the other way, and they've done a great job. It'd be interesting to see what what Skip does here, if he's, he's got that left-hander with the big hole, maybe he'll just let him try to hook it through, or maybe he'll bunt him. Trying to get this run to get tied with the Ducks. It'll be interesting what he picks to do.
Can't forget that Klemp moves pretty well on the base paths as well, as Thompson popped up ready to throw. First pitch is a ball willing away tonight. It's 1-0.
Yeah, a lot of options here. You you can straight steal it. You can allow Brooke Knight to be left-handed, or Briley Knight to be left-handed. I think I don't know if Dad can hit this pitch, and Dad's pretty good, but.
Strike called on Knight right there. He's not happy with himself. He's got a few words. It'll be 1-1.
Ball looked a little in. He didn't like it. Wanted to get to 2-0. Probably going to get the bunt now. Probably got a strike to hit. Now he's probably going to get the bunt. Who knows?
Grinzel looks over at Klemp, over at first. Who'll come home with it. Trying to paint the outside part of the plate instead of it's a ball. It'll be 2-1 tonight now.
Yeah, that summer that I worked with Brian Burris and the Cowlitz Black Bears, this is a situation that I would have handled differently before that summer. I would have bunted 100% in this situation, but he's a big believer in allowing a left-hander to go ahead and swing the bat.
And he did a good job right here. This one's going to go all the way to the wall. One hopper to the wall. Klemp round second. He's going to be sent home. The throw from Cowley is not in time. An RBI double by Briley Knight ties us up at 6 in the bottom of the 7th inning.
And just like every single time, Coach Loomis really knows when to push and when to pull. Allow, honestly, one of his best hitters. He's hit in the middle of the order the entire year. Instead of just straight sacrifice bunting, we're just going to hit a double off the opposite field wall, score the tying run, and now that you have no outs and a guy on second base, and Mensch probably 100% is going to get him to third and try to get the lead here.
It almost seemed like Tanner Smith was lined up incorrectly with Knight. He was playing shallow and so close to the line, and then Knight elevated it and sent it into left center field, and Smith had to run a long way. There was no way he was going to be able to get to that ball.
Well, I think if you look at Briley's spray chart, it generally is left center gap to straight pull, and if he is going to hit a ball down the line, it's usually not hit hard down the line, but he did just like the right-handers. He got a ball in the outer half, he stayed inside of it and hit a ball over a guy playing in two-strike adjust.
So now the game all tied up at 6 apiece. Was a 5-0 lead for the Ducks early on in this game, as Mensch squares to bunt, pulls it back as Thompson able to glove that one, keeps it from squirting away. It'll be 1-0. Mensch so far today is 0 for 2. He did get hit by pitches last time up at the plate. Pulls back the bat right there on a ball that was low. It'll be 2-0.
Great plate discipline by Mensch there. 2 balls that look plate coverage. He pulled the bat back. It's 2-0. Probably will try to bunt again, and if he gets to 3-0, maybe we'll get a chance to walk.
And now the rain really starting to fall down, and we're going to have, I don't know if it'll be a pitching change, but we're going to have a meeting on the mound right now for the Ducks as things have gotten out of hand relatively fast here with 4 runs in the bottom of the 6th, and then 1 run here already in the bottom of the 7th without an out, and a runner over at second representing the go-ahead run. Things have been a little bit different for the Ducks over the last few innings, and now you're starting to feel that pressure. And just like you talked about, you get that early lead. Sometimes you sort of get into a lull. You think you have this big enough lead that you don't need to keep your foot down on the pedal. And look at this, Pilots are right back in it.
Yeah, there isn't a coach that's been a head coach for a while that loves a 5-0 lead in the second inning, because they know there's a lot of innings to be played, and it just always happens that the letdown. Looks like the umpires might go ahead and shut her down here for a minute or two.
Yeah, right now you cannot see the hill across the way, which usually means it's even heavier rain over there. And the umpires are just going to say, we'll play this one through. Maybe they heard you. You know, it only takes about 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. Now, I will tell you, I don't know Pac-12 rules, but if the Pilots win or go ahead here, I'm not sure if they'll play 7 innings and the game will be over if it continues to rain like this.
They're saying a foul ball after the bunt attempt from Mensch, and so that's a strike. And he's trying to plead his case right now. Thompson was the one, the catcher behind the plate, who initially said it went off of his bat, and the umpire, I'm not saying he rolled with what the catcher said, but he quickly made a decision right there. You'll get a good look at it.
Oh my goodness.
That wasn't even close.
Yeah, that's a straight miss right there.
So what should be 3-0 is now 2-1, and Klemp frustrated with himself now because he got robbed of a strike, and now it's 2-2, and you're going to have to probably pull that bunt off.
Yeah, Mensch, by the way.
What did I say?
Klemp.
Oh, excuse me. I definitely
actually from behind, I'm going to tell you, they do kind of have a similar stature. A little tighter pants on Klemp, a little bigger guy. But yeah, the one thing you can't do when you get that bad umpire call is you just can't let the next rep go sideways on you. Oh,
this one's going to go into center field, but Knight stays put as Shade came up to back that throw up.
Yeah, and I feel like Mensch, he was frustrated. I mean, we all saw it. It was, and umpires are human, and it's raining, and mistakes happen. But what we can't do is the very next pitch can't be a try to bunt a ball with a barrel below your hands, and you got to refocus in that situation.
So now it's a 2-2 count.
But we talked about that 6-minute focus, and
we'll see right here. High, as that one came out of the hand of Grinzel. It'll be a full count now on Mensch.
And it's really coming down.
Yeah, it really is. This almost is as bad as it was when we had our first delay. At least now it's coming more straight down, although I think it's more of an angle coming in at us, so it's hard to tell. Mensch will go down with a strikeout. And that's the first out here in the 7th for the Pilots. That'll bring up Jake Sukata.
Not much you can do about that.
No, and I think that might be one of those cases of what you just talked about. You got to let that one pitch go, and never got back into it, and now they're going to call time. Umpire's going to call time with a runner on second and one out. We're going to head into another delay here at Joe Etzel Field. In the bottom of the 7th inning, it's a 6-6 ball game. And what could have the Pilots take the lead here in the bottom of the 7th, instead we've got a break.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not seeing any blue sky on the horizon, so this could be a long one. So buckle up. It's dark sky and heavy rain, and obviously, we have some of the best facility guys around, and they're on that radar, and they're going to make a decision here on how long they're going to sit around. But
yeah, I'm looking at the radar right now, and we have a green patch that's sort of over our spot right now, but it should go by relatively quickly. There is another pocket behind it, but it looks like there would be enough time to get in a couple of innings before that next spurt. But it really is coming down now here at Joe Etzel Field as we head into our second rain delay of the day in a 6-6 ball game. And Corey, this game has been so back and forth. I mean, you talk about how we were feeling probably about an hour and a half ago. And the Ducks had an early 4-0 lead after the first inning. They got a solo home run in the second, and you have to be thinking, well, you're down 5-0 in a midweek game, a non-conference opponent. How much are you really going to stay into this one? And credit to the Pilots. They've stuck around. They didn't really get their first hits going until the 6th inning. Now, they did get one run across in the second to cut that lead to 5-1, but it's 4 runs in the 4th inning off of a couple of hits, a hit batter. They were the benefit of 2 errors by the Ducks that turned into that 4-run 6th inning, and then quick couple of hits before the rain really started to come down here in the 7th, and what was once a 5-0 lead is now a 6-6 tie ball game.
Yeah, I think you got to give just a ton of credit to Ty Saunders. I mean, Ty Saunders came into the game, induced some energy into the ball club, kept them hung around, and I feel like the club played off of how Ty was pitching. You get Ty off the mound, you bring in Gillis, who's one of the normal guys, has a big inning, and then before you know it, you got a tie ball game and a guy on second base. It's unfortunate that with the bad umpire call, and it happens, where you couldn't have moved him and been in a different situation, and then also this rain's not helping the momentum of the Pilots. The Mo train is stopped.
Yeah, the momentum, unfortunately for the Portland Pilots, has been put to a halt right now. And for the Ducks, you have to think that maybe this is a time where we can regroup right now, because you have 6 more outs trying to get a run across. Now, you do have to prevent the Pilots from getting another run here in the bottom of the 7th, but maybe a small blessing here with the rain coming down to regroup everybody in the dugout. And hey, guys, we got to get things going here, get a couple of hits. And you can see right now, they're all huddled into that dugout, and that's exactly what's happening over there.
Good call. Probably hitting coach talking about approach. And you know, like I said, if you've ever been a head coach for a period of time, you've been in these games where you've scored 5 early, and you're just like, you look at your clock and you're like, how long is it going to take before they whittle their way back into this game? And the key is to continue to keep pressure on. And you know, one of the things that I've done in the past, and I think it's a good play, is play for 1 after you score big. It's a weird thing to do in the 3rd inning, to be squaring the bunt if you get the leadoff guy on, but understand that the more you pile on, the harder it's going to be for them to come back. So.
Well, that's Corey Keir. I'm Brian Slyke. We're going to take a quick break with the rain delay here at Joe Etzel Field. A 6-6 ball game. The Pilots have a runner on second with only 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. Hopefully, we resume play soon enough on Portland CW.
We are steeped in traditions, driven by mission.
Transformed by learning and serving.
We are innovators,
Researchers, explorers,
Change makers.
and playmakers.
Because that's what being a pilot is all about.
This is Maria Banks with CCCU. She has a first-time homebuyer savings account and a dog named Dave. She plays pickup soccer. She's about to get a mortgage and loves listening to music. She's just the kind of member that can take advantage of everything CCCU has to offer.
And I just like what credit unions stand for.
From customer to customized. Bank locally, live simply. With CCCU.
What is our way? Our way is unrelenting, imposing as the mountaintops to our east, strong as the ocean to our west. Our way is forward, challenged by past achievement, expecting future success. Our way is committed, devoted, passionate. Our way fuels us to be different, to be inspired, to have faith in each other. What is our way? Our way is West.
Some people might call it a job. I call it a mission, helping people get back on their way. When you're a roadside technician for AAA, every day is different. We're always ready to be there for you when your call comes in. I love seeing that smile on a member's face when you get them rolling again. It makes you feel good. At the end of the day, it's all about helping people. That's what keeps me going.
Even when I was little, just growing up, I knew I wanted to play in college.
I've kind of always just wanted to go here so I'd come out to the games and like sit in the stands and see them, and like I genuinely believed that I could be one of them.
Being on the court felt like nothing else mattered. I just thought it was fun.
I've always been not the most athletic, not the tallest, not the skinniest.
I know what it's like to feel like you can't do it, but you really can.
I play to prove others wrong.
I find purpose in making the people who supported me proud.
Trust that all the hard work you've put in is going to pay off. Go out there and try to prove each and every person wrong that's ever doubted you.
Running a race is one of the most physically and mentally challenging things, but crossing that finish line, that feeling just can't be matched.
Competing feels like I'm on top of the world. All it takes is one conversation.
I'm just proud of their team performance.
All it takes is one opportunity to be successful.
Pick 10, they're in the championship round. Like, what can you tell me? I mean, what a celebration to have.
Being in the stands as a little girl and now being on the court court, being able to represent myself and the game and University of Portland.
I used to see myself as just a basketball player. Now I see myself as a role model.
Here's to the next gen.
We are
Steeped in traditions. Driven by mission.
Transformed by learning and serving.
We are innovators.
Researchers. Explorers.
Change makers.
And playmakers.
Because that's what being a pilot is all about.
Good, okay, guys, objective today, have a really sharp practice, work on some set pieces, work on our shape, getting all the details tuned in for tomorrow, all the things that we do, the honesty, the integrity of the details of the practice. Make sure that we're sharp today, okay? It's not gonna be long. Really important that we have a really sharp practice and we're ready to go for kickoff, okay? Hey, Coach, can you do it after practice? Right now.
Gentlemen, Sergeant Kranick for Campus Safety. This morning I had an officer from Portland Police come by our office to report a stolen bike. Unfortunately, they were able to identify the individual because they were wearing soccer garb, basically your t-shirt or whatever, identifying you to the University of Portland. Officer Good News talked to me this morning at length. He's not going to move forward with any kind of criminal charges. He's letting the university Campus Safety deal with it, which I'm very appreciative for. As you all know, you're a strong team. You're all united. When somebody does this, it reflects the entire team, right? They gave me basically a letter for the individual to meet with them immediately. I need to speak with Nick Denley. Nick? Just doing bike. Do you mind just opening that up? I have to make sure that you've read it, you understand, and if you have any questions, please ask.
Read it out loud. All right. You exemplify everything that is right about our program. You always come to training with a big smile and positive attitude. I don't think we have ever seen a frown or heard a complaint in your time. You play each day like it could be your last and run like your engine will never empty. You have been through so much adversity since joining our program and have come out of it better, both a person and a teammate. Spending 2 years here without playing a fall game due to COVID and a knee injury hasn't been the planned journey. You grew up here in Oregon playing for FC Portland, the youth club Clive Charles built. You're an Oregonian through and through and bleed purple. You represent the program with class and character and graduated from UP undergrad with academic honors this past spring. We are writing to inform you and your family that you've been increased to a full tuition.
He's just a great kid, great family. They have connections to UP, and you know, it's he's deserved it. He's earned it. So I think that you could see the team's reaction because they know how much he puts into it, and just how smart of a student athlete he is. Well, for him to be able to finish up his MBA and get 2 degrees from the UP, I think speaks to his character. So he exemplifies everything that's right with our program, and it was a fun little event.
Dream come true. Yeah. It's been a long time, and growing up here in Oregon, back in McMinnville, and playing for FC Portland, I've always known Clive Charles and came to the games, and so it's just nice to finally live that.
We did this with Keenan Weeks, who also is equally as deserving a few years back with a Wally prank, and you know, we have a great relationship with P Safe, and we just talked about the values that this team has and how good they are, and so I thought I'd catch them off guard a little bit and then come down, and some of the guys I think maybe weren't fooled, but other guys were like, oh, this isn't good. So again, just a little bit of fun before the season, and a great way to reward a really good pilot.
Got that bike like a week ago back from home, so I was like, maybe it's something else, but no, it was good fun.
Exciting time to watch our guys play, and want everyone to come out, students, community, please come out and support us. I think you'll see a great group of guys that play really hard and play the right way.
you got that little tattoo playing peekaboo on your back. Yeah, if you wanna impress me, baby, here's my plan. All you gotta do is put a drink in my hand. Fill it up, I'll throw it down. When you drive me home, take a long way around. You be my Lotus Lane, I'll be your Superman. All you gotta do is put a drink in my hand. My head Monday morning that alarm clock sings. It goes bang, 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 the body ring, ring, rings. Yeah, I'm there on the road if you wanna rock again. All you gotta do is put a drink in my hand. Yeah, fill it up, throw it down. I got a little
Up here. Anyone they move? Good. Snooze, you lose. I'm watching the hockey game. Yeah, Kraken's first game. Hey, we got baseball Saturday night. I had to give my tickets to my brother Saturday night. So we're going Monday night. Come on, boys. Yo! My Dixieland delight. Spend my dollars. What can I holler me? Mountain moonlight. Hold her up tight. Take a little loving. Little turn it up and all. Mason Dixon night.
Welcome back to Joe Etzel Field. Brian Slack and Corey Keir on the call. After a brief rain delay, the second one so far in today's game, we've got ourselves a tie ball game at 6 apiece right now, as the Pilots have put up 5 runs in the last inning and a third. With Briley Knight standing on second, it brings up Jake Sukata with only 1 out, and Briley Knight representing the go-ahead run for the Pilots, who were trailing 5-0 early on in this game, but they have battled back and fought back to a 6-6 tie ball game late in this one. Well, Corey, going back out on the mound is Grayson Grinzel, who started out this inning as he took over for Austin Anderson. He quickly gave up a couple of hits, a single to Klemp, and then the RBI double to Briley Knight that tied this one up. As the umpires are going back out. You know, a couple years ago, the fans here probably wouldn't have anywhere to stay out of the rain here at Joe Etzel Field, but with some of the renovations that we've had over the last couple of seasons, got some overhangs. People can get out of the wet weather. You can see some of those fans right there underneath the overhang behind home plate. And that's just some of the additions that are going on around the campus of the University of Portland. It's ever growing. They've really put in money into the athletics, but it's not just here on the bluff and focusing on baseball. They're doing a lot of things on campus as Sukata steps to the plate.
Yeah, actually a couple weeks ago I attended I was invited by Jason Crone.
The 2005 team MVP?
Yeah, here up on the bluff. His grandfather, Larry Knudsen, was a basketball player here, and he has a scholarship for educators. And we attended the scholarship luncheon, man, it was a great luncheon. Tons of alumni giving out all the scholarships, and all the students that were receiving the scholarships were eating with the people that were giving them. And probably the biggest thing was that Jim Burchold donated $18 million directly to the Portland Pilot Student Scholarship Fund.
Here's a chopper over to first. Wall staying behind it. He'll grab it and step on first. Moving over to third is Briley Knight, but there's 2 away for the Pilots now in the bottom of the 7th.
I mean, so it's really a special place. I mean, you're talking about beautiful facilities. You're talking about a beautiful area. You're talking about all the opportunities that students have, and then a big scholarship fund for students that need it, you know. And yeah, it's a pretty impressive event, and it was nice to attend with Jason. I got invited, and I suited up, and we went down and met the gal that, Larry's no longer around, and Jason is now the person that facilitates the scholarship, and got a chance to meet the young lady that got the scholarship. She's going to be an educator and secondary educator, and obviously there's lots of people. We need those.
Oh, so. Absolutely. Pitching change for the Oregon Ducks, so it looks like Grayson Grinzel's day is going to be done as the new arm comes in. At the moment, we can tell you it's a right-handed pitcher coming in for the Ducks from the bullpen, but Grinzel's day is done. The second Duck to not get through an entire inning of work. Ducks right now are sort of in a tough spot as they gave up that run quickly in the bottom of the 7th to tie it up at 6. Then you go into that rain delay where you're sitting around for about 15 minutes or so, and you have to get back up. And right now they've got the go-ahead run 90 feet away from scoring as Matthew Grabman, the right-handed pitcher from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, steps onto the mound now. We'll give you all the information on Grabman when we return on Portland CW. A pitching change with a runner on third and 2 outs. Bottom of the 7th inning. The Pilots trying to take the lead on Portland CW. Welcome back to Joe Edsall Field. After the pitching change, Matthew Grabman is in. The freshman from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia in Canada steps onto the mound to make his 11th appearance on the season. Has an 0-2 record with a 2.77 ERA. He's thrown 26 innings of work, allowed 8 earned runs on 17 hits, and a 1-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, 21 in each category. Opponents are hitting 200 against him on the season.
For all you baseball fans out there trying to understand why you go through a 30-minute delay and then have a left-hander go, this could be trouble.
High chopper, Howard running down the line and not in time as the throw beats him. Knight won't be able to score, but the Pilots tie the game up at 6 apiece after the ground out. As we head to the 8th inning, all tied up. Bottom of the order, Thompson, Betcher, and Grant coming to the plate for the Ducks when we return. Welcome back to Joe Edsall Field. It's a tight one between the Oregon Ducks and the Portland Pilots. 6 apiece here in the top of the 8th inning as Brock Gillis comes out for another inning of work. The third arm for the Pilots today. It started out with KJ Rufo, followed by 4 innings by Ty Saunders, and then Brock Gillis came out in the last inning and went 1-2-3 as the Pilots try to hold on to this tie and then retake the lead, or take the lead, I should say, for the first time today in the bottom of the 8th. But they have to get through the top of the 8th first. As Bennett Thompson comes to the plate, he's 1 for 2 today with a 2 RBI double. He was hit by a pitch back in the 3rd, was left stranded over at 2nd, and then his last at bat, he flew out to Jake Holcroft in center field.
Yeah, we were talking about before the turn of the inning, you have a 20-minute rain delay, and the left-hander comes out and throws 1 pitch.
Then you have a pitching change.
And then you have a pitching change, but, you know, they're going lefty-lefty matchup, and then, you know, you got the young buck Howard on deck, and they went out to the pen to get a good arm. And actually that arm is from the Okotoks Baseball Academy up in Canada, where the former head coach for Mount Hood Community College is now coaching.
Oh, okay.
Okotok dog out there on the mound for the Ducks right now.
Say that one more time. Okotok?
Yes, I think it's the Okotoks.
As that ball is turned on foul for a long strike, it'll be 1-2.
That might be in the bed of my truck.
Do you have a bed liner?
No.
Oh.
He heel cleared and hit it way out in the parking lot.
Here's the 1-2 pitch from Gillis. Swung on and missed. 3rd strikeout for Gillis in just an inning and a 1/3 of work. And that'll bring up Bryce Betcher, who's 0 for 3 today, 2 strikeouts. He did ground out to Ty Saunders his last time up. Here's the last strikeout from Gillis. And again, the Ducks have, when they have struck out, they've been challenged with a high fastball, and they've just been unable to connect anything with it.
Yeah, I mean, they only have 6 hits tonight. The unfortunate thing is 2 of them were home runs, and another knock with a couple guys on base. Could be a total different game if those home runs didn't get out of the yard.
3 of those hits came in the 1st inning, and then you've got the 2 solo home runs that you just mentioned. Otherwise, they have a double that it was sprinkled in there back in the 3rd. Things have been relatively quiet for the Ducks up at the plate outside of those solo home runs. Last time they had one was back in the 4th as Gillis creates a swing and miss from Betcher. It'll be 0-2. Betcher, an interesting athlete for the Oregon Ducks, plays 2 different sports. He's also a safety on the football team, as well as an outfielder for the Ducks baseball program. Here's the 0-2, check swing. Good take on that one. He thought about swinging. It'll be 1-2.
Yeah, you got to be one heck of an athlete to play two sports at the Division I level. You start thinking about the guys that have done it over time. My favorite player of all time, and see if you can remember who this person is.
Is it Bo Jackson?
Well, I like Bo Jackson, but he's not like, you got to think short. You got to think little, small, fat lefty. Played basketball and baseball for Jim Dietz at San Diego State.
Oh, Tony Gwynn. Yeah, of
exactly.
course. Yeah. He played basketball. Yeah, in fact, I'm pretty sure he's still the all-time assist leader for the Aztecs.
Yeah, he looked a little different. The first time I ever saw Tony Gwynn was in Yuma when I was about 8 years old or 10 years old. My grandparents were snowbirds, and I went down to visit them and got to see Tony Gwynn when he didn't look like me.
Scavato stays back on the ground ball and delivers a strike over to first to get Betcher, and there's 2 away after the ground out.
Yeah, it's crazy. Very few people in the world, when a celebrity dies, everybody has perfect. Here's a good little replay. Just hooked it. Nice little play. Scavato thrown across the field. Betcher can really run. He plays Division I football. He can run. But Tony Gwynn was the first famous person that I ever actually cried for when I heard that he had passed away.
Gavin Grant puts a driving one into center field. Holcroft goes back, and it goes over the fence. Second home run of the day for Gavin Grant. And he gives the Ducks a 7-6 lead here in the top of the 8th with his second solo home run.
9-hitter. He's the 9-hitter tonight. The ball got a little elevated, I believe. I think you'll get a chance to see this. And no, actually, it was down.
Yeah, it was down, yeah.
Probably his best where he likes it. And boy, Holcroft was right on top of it. If you look at flag, there's no wind now. And earlier in the game, that would have been a routine fly ball.
Yeah, that's a ball that probably dies about 15, 20 feet in front of the fence if you're still dealing with those 13-mile-an-hour winds. As Nishida steps into the box, trying to get a bunt down, instead pulls it back. It'll be 1-0.
The old 9-hitter. It's a coach's nightmare. The 9-hitter has 2 bombs tonight.
2 home runs tonight, yep. As Nishida takes ball 2 inside below the knees, it'll be 2-0.
Yeah, believe it or not, I'd rather have the 9-hitter have 2 bombs than 4 walks.
As Grant gets his 7th home run of the season. And normally, you briefly mentioned it as Nishida takes a breaking ball for a strike on the far side of the plate, 2-1. But when Gillis has gotten in trouble this year with a couple of home runs, the ball has been elevated. And that one was just a good swing put on by Gavin Grant, as that one was what seemed to be what was going low and away. Nishida puts this one down the left field line. Knight on his horse, and that one goes off the bottom of the wall. Nishida rounds first, and he's quickly into second with a stand-up double with 2 away.
Now, who'd have thought a 5'8", 140-pound guy can hit a ball opposite field 323 feet? Like I said, he's got some sneaky power.
Yes, he does.
Not when I say power, I'm not talking home run power, but I'm saying the ability to hit it off the fence or to the fence. And his only home run of his career here in the United States, he hit an oppo bomb with a wood bat at the University of Oregon.
I remember watching that one.
Work harder back there, Blue.
As Colby Shade now steps to the plate. The slightly open stance, batting from the right side. Strike called on Shade. You're going to have to keep an eye on Nishida. He leads this team. He's got 15 stolen bases. And as you would say, Corey, the dude is a rabbit on the bases.
Yeah, he is the definition of a rabbit. Now, I'll tell you, with two outs, I doubt he swipes third, but you never know. Maybe he wants to stack some totals.
Inside for a ball. That'll even count at 1-1.
Now, he played in the Cape Cod League last
summer. Yep.
And he had if you go back and look through Cape Cod history, he got a single or a walked, and he stole second, he stole third, and then he stole home. You don't have very many people that do that. So
no,
he's a special player for sure.
As Coach Lambert is going out to the mound right now, talk things over with Brock Gillis. Now, I don't see anybody up in the bullpen right now for Portland, so this is more trying to get an understanding of how his arm is feeling out there on the rubber.
Yeah, and also just to kind of reset him and make sure that, a home run happen, and let's not turn this into a 3-run inning. And you got 2 outs. Let's execute a pitch and get the Pilots back in the dugout. And the Pilots still have 6 outs, and they've proven that they had 3 outs in the 6th and scored 4. So they don't need 4; they need 2. So Lambo just slowing the pace down a little bit, giving him some confidence, and out there in the old puffy coat, and this is definitely a puffy coat night.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I'd like to own one of those puffy coats. They look so comfortable.
They do look really comfortable.
So,
you'll just have to talk to Coach Watt, see if he can give you the hookup.
Yeah, I think I'd actually fit in one of those things now. I've lost. Actually, the other day I got on the scales down to 83 pounds. I'm down. Yeah.
What a boy.
Yeah, the University of Portland let me know that they didn't have money for wide-angle lenses, so they needed me to shrink it up a little bit. And if we ever did COVID again, we couldn't be that far away because I was so heavy. Do you remember that? Our first television together was during the COVID, and they had us about 12 feet away from each other.
Yeah, outside the press box. It's this ball in the dirt, blocked by Tyler Howard. That'll make it a 3-1 count now on Shade. Yeah, we were out in front of the press box. We were standing about 10 feet away.
Yeah, I think it was about 100 degrees, and then they had these light things that they were trying to light us up with, and it made it 200 degrees. And I was wearing a XX suit, and I was a XXX guy. It was kind of a miserable deal.
Swing and a miss by Shade on the half-hearted swing. It'll be 3-2 now, full count. Think about that. That was 2 years ago now.
Only 2, yeah. Feels like eons ago, thank goodness, right?
Right. Full count with 2 outs. Gillis trying to get out of this inning with only giving up the 1 run. Nishida's on second. Sukata keeps an eye. Now he retreats back. The throw. High and away. Ball 4 to Shade. And now there's 2 aboard. And that'll bring up Drew Cowley, who's 0 for 2 today with a walk and hit by pitch. He has come around to score once. That was back in the first inning.
The shortstop, number 15, Drew Cowley.
And with nobody up in the bullpen right now for Portland, you know that this is Gillis's inning to end. Now, Corey, you and I have worked together enough that 2 negatives after the home run is usually not a recipe for success. You give up the double and then you have a walk after giving up that home run. You'd really like to see a response right here with the 2 outs.
Yeah, I was going back to the old chart that I have, actions after negatives, and it doesn't matter what happens, no matter how great of a pitch you execute. If a guy hits a home run, you take it as a negative if you're out there on the bump, and then to follow it with a walk or a hit, it adds up. So you want to stop the negatives from happening. So
1-1 now on Cowley.
And big innings are always caused by multiple negatives in a row. So, and adding an umpire, bad call or something like that. But that very rarely happens. Rarely.
As Gillis misses there, it's 2-1.
And quite honestly, I'm being serious about that. We saw this tonight, and
that was one instance, but I would say out of the majority of games that we've worked here at Joe Edsel Field,
incredible umpiring.
We've had great umpires, and we've rarely had a missed call or a controversial call, as it's now 3-1 on Cowley.
And I want you to know that that's the first time that I've ever watched Coach Loomis come out and talk about a call with the contact with, the umpiring's been so good, you just don't get that. And I'll speak from the experience that I've been having this year. Same thing in the NWAC. I've argued a few calls, but it's just walk out to the midline like you're supposed to and state your case. And I think I'm 3 for 6 on my attempts.
Well, I think it's more about planting a seed, I feel like, in that instance of, hey, maybe keep an eye out for it on the next time around. Or although I've never been in that situation, I guess that's more of one for you to answer.
Yeah, I mean, for me, again, we all think we know what we see, but we're over there 180 feet away. For us, the first base coach, if the call is wrong, he'll take off his helmet, and so then I'll know that, hey, man, this is not right. But even then, I don't always come out and argue, because the first thing I do believe is when you're winning the ball game, it never pays off to go out and argue. First off, you slow the momentum of the game down, and Yeah, and it happens, and as long as they're in position and they're right there, you know.
The 1-0 inside for a ball and high as Sabine Ceballos steps to the plate. He's 1 for 3 today with a solo home run in the 4th. He did walk in the 1st and came around to score. Runners on 1st and 2nd for Oregon. With a 1-run lead, they lead 7-6 as Gillis now is on the verge of walking his 3rd straight batter and walking in a run.
This will be a strike. 3-0 is always a strike.
Yeah, even on some of those borderline pitches, you'll see an umpire.
Yeah, for some reason, when a pitcher starts piling those negatives up, they usually come back with a, oh, my goodness.
Inside for a ball, and that'll bring in a run. That'll technically be an RBI for Ceballos. After the walk, bases remain loaded, and it's now an 8-6 lead for the Ducks.
The left fielder, number 31, Tanner Smith.
So that brings up Tanner Smith, who doubled in his first at-bat to become the all-time RBI leader for the Oregon Ducks. But since then, he's gone 0 for 3 with a couple of flyouts to center. And then he struck out in his last at-bat as Gillis comes back after a 4-pitch walk, delivering a strike to Smith. It's 0-1. This is uncharacteristic of Gillis from what we've been able to see of him over the last year and a half on the mound. To have 4 straight negatives.
Yeah, I mean, hits are hits, you know.
They happen. No, I'm not about that, but I'm more talking about the 3 straight walks now that he's issued. And that's something that, you know, he's had relatively good control this season. And seeing him walk 3, it just doesn't seem like the normal Gillis that we know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy out there, man. It's
not easy playing Division I baseball in general.
And the pitch is... It's just a whole nother world when you get out there. And some people, you know, you start thinking about things and they're like little weights on your shoulder. And then, you know, the minute you start stacking them up, it gets harder and harder. And, you know, for me, the teach I always tell the guys is just downshift. You know, many years ago, I Hall of Fame coach over in Vancouver, Coach Freeman. We can pick this up back after the break, but...
Yeah, it's a strikeout for Smith. That's strange 3 aboard, but 2 runs come in to score in the top of the 8th inning. The Ducks retake the lead 8-6. Coming to the plate for the Pilots, it's the top of the order. Pataxo, Holcroft, and Scavato when we return on Portland CW. Welcome back to Joe Edsall Field as Josh Molaris comes on to close out this one for the Ducks. The transfer from the University of San Francisco as he comes out to make his 15th appearance on the year, has a 1-0 record with 6 saves through 18 innings of work. He has yet to give up a run so far this season. He's only given up 7 hits. And it's a 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, 28 strikeouts to just 7 walks. Opponents are hitting a .115 against him so far this year. Well, it comes down to the final 6 outs for the Portland Pilots. And they've got the top of the order coming up. Normally, this is exactly who you want to come to the plate early on. Top of the order really struggled, though. Through the first 8 at-bats, they had 2 walks. Those were the only positives that they were able to get across, though. Back in the 5th and the 6th inning, though, you were able to get 3 hits out of those, plus a walk. So the top of the lineup starting to take shape, I guess, and getting things going offensively as Pataxel comes to the plate now for his 5th plate appearance.
Yeah, great at-bat. His last at-bat, he hits that double down the right field line on a pitch on the outer half. And this arm's a little different than the arm he faced last time. It's a pretty good arm to finish it up for the Ducks.
First pitch to Pataxel, he fouls away. He'll start behind 0-1. Jackson Pace went 5 1/3 to start this game for the Ducks as Pataxel takes strike 2 on a slider. 0-2. The next 3 arms combined for an inning and 2/3 of work over 3 arms in a total of 33 pitches. The 0-2. Pataxel puts one down the right field line, and this one goes off the light pole and actually goes back into play. And that'll have Bryce Betcher having to get that one out of play.
That saved some auto body work, I'm thinking.
It really did. I'm thinking for sure that would have hit one of those cars out there. Moleras throws, missing high and away. First ball to Pataxel makes it 1-2. Now Moleras likes to throw some heat, and talking to Coach Loomis and what we've talked about before, that kind of plays right into what the Pilots like to do as they pounce on guys that are pumping 90 or higher into the zone, and that's what Moleras is doing as he throws another pitch that gets fouled off by Pataxel. 1-2. As the Pilots are down to their final 6 outs and punched out. Slow call by the home plate umpire Tyler Wall, but it's a strikeout on Pataxel to start off the 8th inning for Portland.
Yeah, it looks a little white line to me. We'll see. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
The white line, umpire white line. Yeah, it was a little wide, but Pataxel trying to put the velocity in that pitch is big time. You know, to my eyes say he's throwing 92. I don't have a radar gun. We don't have any scouts in front of us for me to poach off of, but it looks 90 to 92, maybe more. And it's late in the game, and he's cold, so.
That's true, yeah. 0-1 to start off Holcroft in this at-bat. Make it 0-2 after the swing and miss. Holcroft is 1 for 3 today with a 2 RBI single back in the 6th. Otherwise, he's grounded out twice. He did have a walk back in the 1st inning. The 0-2. Holcroft lays off the high fastball. Infield playing back for Oregon. And Holcroft, rare chase on a pitch that was blown away. And back-to-back strikeouts for Moleras on the mound. 2 away for Portland, and that'll bring up Evan Scavato, who's gone hitless today, but he has reached base back in the 6th with a walk. Another look at that strikeout of Holcroft. And Moleras just pumping heat right there. Holcroft is trying to get some barrel on it, but comes up empty. Scavato swings at the high fastball from Moleras. Falls behind 0-1. Moleras spent 4 seasons with the Dons in San Francisco, playing in 68 games, making 9 starts. He struck out 126 over 135 innings and only walked 46. Another strike on Scavato makes it 0-2, and Moleras is a strike away from striking out the side. No change from Scavato. First ball of this at-bat makes it 1-2. One-two delivery, swung on and missed into the dirt, and Moleras strikes out the side here in the 8th. And the Pilots go down in order. No hits, no runs, no runners left on. It remains an 8-6 ball game in favor of the Ducks as we head to the final frame. Top of the 9th inning, Jacob Walsh, Bennett Thompson, and Bryce Betcher all come to the plate for the Ducks. Next on Portland CW. New pitcher on the mound for the Portland Pilots as Brock Gillis' day is going to be done on the mound. It's freshman Zach Johnson, who now steps onto the rubber. The freshman from Westland, Oregon, who went to Lake Ridge High School, is going to be making his 7th appearance on the season. Has an 0-1 record with a 4.41 ERA. 16 1/3 innings underneath his belt. He's given up 17 hits, 8 earned runs, and 13 walks to 12 strikeouts. Opponents are hitting .270 against him, but it seems like a good moment for a freshman arm to come in there, get an inning underneath his belt. And actually, when I talked to Coach Wazakowski earlier this week, he talked about how impressed he was with the freshman arms and that 9-1 win that Oregon had earlier this month. But he talked very highly about Zach Johnson and a couple of the other arms, Gaston and Hebert as well.
Yeah, when we saw him for the first time, I liked him a lot. You know, we didn't get a chance to see much of the Pilots. Have been on the road for so long, but he came out early in the season and had a live arm and threw real well. And he's going to be a big factor, I think, in the future here on the Bluff.
First pitch he throws to Jacob Walsh is a ball. It'll be 1-0 as the rain continues to fall here at Joe Etzel Field. It's been on and off all day as we've gone through a couple of rain delays. Two-hopper over to short to Pataxel, comes up throwing. Walsh is retired for the first out in the 9th inning. Now coming to the plate, it's going to be number 16, Bennett Thompson, who is 1 for 3 today with a 2 RBI double back in the first inning. Since then, though, he got hit by a pitch in the 3rd, flew out to center in the 5th, and then he struck out swinging back in the 8th inning. First pitch he sees, squares to bunt, pulls it back. A high fastball from Johnson makes it 1-0.
Yeah, I was doing a little research on Molaris there, and you know, my eyes say it's 92, and I think my eyes might be wrong tonight. I think it might be 95. He was 88 to 91 coming out of high school, and he's a 5th-year guy, and that ball's just jumping out of his hand.
Strike thrown to Thompson. It's now 1-1 from Johnson. Breaking ball and pulled down the 3rd baseline. That ball was fair and tough bounce as it goes off the fence in front of the Pianovi hitting facility, and stopping at second with a double with 1 out. It's Bennett Thompson with his 2nd hit of the day. And this took an unfortunate hop. Now they're have to be happy that the runner stayed at second, but that ball just completely died as it hit part of that wall on the hitting facility next to the fence and caught all momentum on that ball, and Knight had to come from where he thought it was going to go into the corner and then had to come in.
You don't see that too often, that's for sure.
As Bryce Betcher comes to the plate, he's 0 for 4 today, a couple of strikeouts and a couple of groundouts as the curveball from Johnson drops in for a strike, 0-1.
Yeah, 33% of the hits that the Ducks got or have gotten have been over the top of 3rd base or over 1st base. They have 2 balls that hooked over 3rd and 1 that hooked over 1st.
Johnson throwing inside and low for a ball this time, makes it 1-1. Yeah, that 8th inning for them added a couple more hits. Obviously, that double just now here in the 9th gives them 9 now in the game. There was a point where they had 6 for about 4 straight innings. Breaking ball from Johnson, can't find the zone. Now falls behind in the count, 2-1.
There's definitely some young arms in the Pilots bullpen and working their way up. I mean, you've got Zach, and then don't forget you got Siegel down there, and I mean, there's some guys that can really pitch that are young.
I mean, we've seen Curtis Hebert a couple of times as well, both in a start and in relief. Carter Gaston is another one. Here's the 2-2. Johnson looks back at the runner at second, comes home with it, and another ball that's turned down the third baseline, but this time it goes just foul before it reaches the bag. We'll go back to the 2-2.
Did you hear the groan? I groaned there because I was like, oh, here we go, another one over third.
One down, yeah,
the spray chart is very limited, but
as we reset with the 2-2 and 1 out here in top of the 9th inning.
Well, and Joey Gartrell isn't like he's an old guy.
No, he's only a sophomore.
Only a sophomore.
Curveball that's hit down the third baseline and goes high off the glove of Tolia. Scavato tried to beat the runner there, and the error will allow Bennett Thompson to come in and score. So an unearned run to Johnson, and it now makes it a 9-6 ball game after the error from Scavato on the high throw.
Boy, this is so close to being foul.
I know, it was a tough play, and he's actually in foul territory. I think it would have stayed fair, though, because he played that one in fair territory. But the error brings in a run. It's now 9-6 with a runner over at first and only 1 out here in the top of the 9th. As Gavin Grant, who's got 2 home runs today, both of them of the solo variety. Those were his 2 hits. In between those 2 solo home runs, he lined out to center field, and then he also struck out back in the 5th. If the Ducks win today, it would be their 100th win against the Portland Pilots between these 2 programs. It's time called by Grant.
2 home runs is quite a day. I've only personally witnessed with my eyes a 3 home run game.
Squaring to bunt, pulling it back, doesn't matter. Called a strike on the breaking ball, 0-1.
Back in 2013, Heritage High School had a kind of a hefty fellow that can really hit. They were playing Columbia River High School, and I watched him hit 3 home runs.
Did you guys win?
No. I wasn't coaching. I was watching. This is 13.
Oh, but, you're right.
But I also will tell you that I did witness someone hit 5 home runs. But it wasn't on a really big field. But former Mount Hood State Taylor Ard in a Legion summer game hit 5 home runs off the Vancouver Cardinals back in 2008. Well, and the last one skipped off the top of the yellow.
It still counts.
Now the fence was like 325 all the way around, so it was a small yard, but he still had to hit it 325, and he did it 5 times. And if you've ever heard about Taylor Ard, he was pretty special. He ended up playing at Washington State and ended up off in the Marlins organization all the way up to, I think, AA or AAA.
The 1-1, runner going for second. Howard comes up throwing. Sukata's covering the bag, and I think they got him. They did. Caught stealing is Betcher. 2 away. Howard getting that ball out quickly from behind the plate, able to get that base runner trying to take second. So 2-1 count now to Gavin Grant with 2 outs, nobody on. Johnson missing there, makes it 3-1. Swung on and missed as Johnson gets a fastball by him. Makes it a full count now, 3-2.
Nice little catch and throw by Howard there. It's, you know, get in the lineup and get a throw out at a Division I game, and he's doing a great job back there.
Strike 3. And Johnson will end this 9th inning after an unearned run comes in and scores to push that lead to 9-6 in favor of the Ducks. We head to the bottom of the 9th inning. 3 outs left for the Pilots. Tolia, Klemp, and Knight coming to the plate next on Portland CW. Pilots are down to their final 3 outs as they trail 9-6. Going up against Josh Moleris. It'll be a tall order as he's not allowed a run at all this season through his 14 appearances. 0 earned runs, 0 runs given up in 18 innings of work. And now the Pilots have to erase a 3-run lead for the Ducks with only 3 outs as Zach Tolia is set to lead things off.
Well, the Pilots definitely made it interesting here. I want to tell you that we talked about that darn momentum train. The Pilots had a guy on second base with no outs and a guy going to bunt him over, and then it started with a call, and then the rain came, and then and the pitching, and it just turned into completely sucked all the momentum out of the Pilots, and then the Ducks took back the momentum the minute the game started back up again, and has scored 3 over the last couple innings and kind of pulled away with the game. So
it kind of goes back to what we were talking about when that second rain delay started. We saw the Ducks huddled up in their dugout talking, hey, we have to get things going again here, as things had sort of gone stagnant for them after they got 6 hits for the first 3 innings. They were held hitless for the next 3 before that rain delay. And then now they've come out and put up 3 runs in the last 2 innings as a second strike called on Tolia.
Yeah, it'd have been really easy in that second rain delay to just, everybody dig in their bag and get their snacks and do some BS in the dugout there. But the coaching staff had them together, and I really think they were talking about hitting approach. I think that I was watching the hitting coach. Here's a second look at the pitch.
And that time it's a breaking ball from Moleris. We've seen him fire fastball after fastball to get strike 3. But this time he gets Tolia guessing.
Yeah, pretty good pitch there.
Klemp swings at the first pitch, fouls it off behind us and to our right. It'll be 0-1 to tonight's DH.
But I was looking down in the dugout there and saw their, who I think coaches hitters down there talking about hitting approach. And I think exactly what we talked about. They got a little big in the middle of the game, and then they came back, and I think he was refocusing them and telling them to work the middle of the field. But they haven't quite worked the middle of the field tonight. They've hit a lot of balls over bases, but in baseball, that's all you got to do is get it between those white lines.
Klemp lays off a fastball that ends up in the left-handed batter's box. 2-2. Klemp is 1 for 4 today. Singled in the 7th and came around to score thanks to a Briley Knight RBI double. Otherwise, a pop-out, ground-out, and a strikeout for Klemp. And through the 5-hole into left field, he's got his second hit of the day with 1 out. And now the Pilots have a runner on first.
Not quite as good as San Diego, where he was hitting 545. He's probably hitting about 460 tonight. He can hit, man.
Oh, he can. Yeah, he's been locked in this year. I mean, that's hit number 48 for him on the season, which blows away his previous career high, which I believe was 26. Yeah. So he's had a great senior season.
I remember last year the waiting for his first home run, and we talked about it every game for about 5 games, and then.
If I remember correctly, you had to leave early.
Of course. Like we talked about it. We had a doubleheader, hit 2 balls off the wall, I predicted he was going to hit a home run, and then I had to leave early. And then the minute I left, I got a text from me that said, "Hey, Klimt just hit his first home run." And
I feel like that's always how it happens. As Briley Knight lays off that pitch, now ahead of 2-0 in the count.
One, and he hit a ball off the yellow before I left.
Yeah,
So.
No, we saw the power that he had. We were just waiting for him just to get underneath it enough to get it over the fence. As Briley Knight swings at this pitch, fouls it off to our left. It's 2-1.
Well, there's been a lot of scouts through filming him, man. It's our third or second TV game, a few other games, and every time there's a guy in the corner putting a film on him, putting a stopwatch on him, he's going to get some opportunities, I think. He's a good player.
Knight 3 for 4 today, 2 singles and an RBI double. That pitch, breaking ball from Moaris, unable to find the zone, makes it 3-1 now on Knight.
Man, I'll tell you what, the other day I was flipping through Twitter and I saw Knight's home run 400 and some feet down there, and I think of San Diego, right?
Yep, down in San Diego. And ball 4 to Knight right there. Hesitation, wasn't sure if he was going to get that walk or not. And he does, and now there's 2 aboard for the Pilots, and that brings up the tying run in Henry Mensch, who steps to the plate today, who's looking for his first hit. In fact, we're actually going to have a pinch hitter. It's going to be Tristan Gomez, the junior from Omaha, Nebraska. The transfer from Cal State Fullerton comes in as a pinch hitter.
Little left-handed, right-handed matchup, little power tool, get the tying run to the plate. Maybe he'll catch one and have some thunder.
Gomez, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's the hardest thing in America to do. He's been here for 3 hours in the dugout. It's pouring rain. It's not pouring rain, and now he's got to come in and face 92 to 94. It's a tough thing to do.
Moaris missing with a fastball away to start off. Gomez 1-0. Through 24 games, Gomez is hitting .262, 16 hits with 5 doubles, 5 home runs. He's driven in 18 on the year. Inside, and that one hits him. That was a hard one. Squared him up right in the leg, and he's going to need a moment as he slams his helmet down on the ground.
Wow, that got him pretty good. I think he's going to be okay. Just got him in the side of the knee, it looked like.
Oh, in the knee?
That's what it looked like. Yeah, I was going to say how hard it is as they're attending to him. I think he's going to be okay, but to come off the bench in a game and face that kind of velocity and have the focus and the readiness to do it, unless your name's Gabe Scoro, right? Professional hitter, because he did it a lot. But yeah.
And you're happy to see that as Gomez can at least walk over to first. Christian Cooney's going to come on as a pinch runner to take over for Gomez, and that'll add some speed to the base path, especially with Gomez hurting now after that last hit by pitch.
Yep, tying run there over at first base. Go ahead, run at the plate.
And now
the walk-off winning run.
As at the plate, and Jake Sukata. And Gomez looks like he's really in some pain right now as he's limping all the way back to the dugout next to the trainer, Chris Jackson.
Yeah, I'm not laughing that he got hit, but I'm just thinking of his mentality. It's a 3-run game. He's in the dugout. He's like, I'm hungry. And all of a sudden, wait a minute, coach wants me to hit. He goes out there and takes 94 off the knee. It's an unfortunate thing. That's baseball, though.
That is baseball as he goes back to the dugout, getting some high fives from his teammates. Jake Sukata steps to the plate and takes a first pitch fastball strike at the knees. Far side of the plate, 0-1. Sukata swings at a low fastball, 0-2 now. Sukata so far on the day had a single back in the second, and then he reached on an error in the sixth that drove in a run. Here's a ground ball to the second baseman, played by Grant. Gets the throw over to second in time, and Sukata's safe over at first. No double play. Klimt comes in and scores on the RBI fielder's choice. And that'll bring up Tyler Howard, who grounded out to short his last time up, but it was a difficult play for the shortstop to make.
It looks like he's going to go ahead. Coach is going to go ahead and pinch hit Howard here.
And I think you're going to get Justin Sukata. Just saw him run over there into the corner. Now this is a lefty bat, stocky kid who can really put a drive into a ball. Here's a last look at that last play. Very close over at first.
The game gets interesting.
And now he has to take a couple of quick hacks to get loose.
Now the big question is, I don't know this answer, but if when the Pilots tie this ball game, who's going to catch?
It's a great. Well, you still have Gabe Villaflor technically on the roster. He's a catcher.
That's probably who it's going to be.
It's Justin Sukata, the freshman. Waits on that fastball away. He makes it 1-0. Sukata's got 2 hits this year. Both of them are for doubles. Off speed gets him there for a strike, 1-1.
One in the corner early in the year. You and I called it. I remember watching it.
Yeah, his other one was actually at that 367 marker out in right center field. So much like his brother, he can spray it all over. Here's the 1-1 from Moeris. And this ball is going to drop into right field. Briley Knight's going to score.
Look at this. It's going to be a tie ball game.
Coming in from third, it's Sukata. Can he beat the throw? And he will, because Walsh dropped it with a transition out of his glove. 2 runs coming to score. Briley Knight and Jake Sukata. And it's a 2 RBI double for Justin Sukata.
Wow, what a great moment for Justin Sukata. Playing on a ball club with his brother. Playing against the Ducks, one of the top teams in the Pac-12, ranked 23rd. Gets a freshman pinch hit at bat. Hits a 2-run RBI to tie a ball game. Pretty cool moment for that young man.
Well, now the Pilots have a chance to win this one here in the bottom of the 9th. And this is the first time that Moeris has given up any runs this season.
Yeah, and I'm just going to say this, and I've said it before. Coach Loomis knows when to push and pull buttons. You know, down 2, got the young catcher coming up. A lot of times guys are going to be like, well, I don't want to go with the 4th catcher. If we tie, I'm just going to let him go ahead and go. Brings a young guy off the bat that can handle it, off the bench that can handle the bat, and talk about a big moment. He'll never forget this.
No,
man.
not at all.
Never forget this. Cool moment for him. Hopefully they win and they can remember it for the rest of their life. He'll remember it no matter what, but great moment.
Well, he'll remember it even more if Pataxel can hit him in here to walk us off. In a 9-9 ball game between the Oregon Ducks and the Portland Pilots, things got interesting here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Started with a strikeout, a single and a walk and a hit batter, then a fielder's choice, which brought in a run. And then you had Justin Sukata just drive in 2 with a double.
Yeah, big moves by the coach tonight. I mean, having Briley Knight swing away in that situation in a close ball game, he hits a double off the wall, then he goes pinch hit off the bench after the kid's been sitting around. He's a freshman. Cool deal.
Pataxo pops this one up on the right side behind the second baseman, Gavin Grant, in a shallow right field, looking for it, and he dropped it! He dropped it! Sukata comes in and scores! And the Pilots beat the Ducks 10-9! A blown save by Moeris, and an error ends it. The Pilots walk it off thanks to an error.
Yeah, I was going to say that's going to be a tough ball to catch up in the lights with the rain coming down. No one ever wants to lose a ball game like that, you know, but what a great moment for the Pilots. Huge comeback win.
Twice they had to come back. They were down 5-0 early on in this game back in the 2nd inning. They tied it up at 6 back in the 7th inning. They gave up the lead in the top of the 8th, and they score 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th and walk off the Ducks to take the midweek action between these 2 teams.
Yeah, I mean, big time pitching by Saunders early, and then late Jake Sukata, little brother, comes out, gets a big hit, and the Pilots are going home with a victory tonight. And the best part about it is just wrestler mentality. You know, they get thrown on their back early, they fight. They get to the 2nd round, they find a way to get back. Then in the 3rd round, they get thrown on their back, and here they are back. Late, turn the guy over and pin him, get him done. So pretty cool deal for the Pilots, man.
Pilots come back twice. They put up 4 runs in the 6th to tie it up at 6, and 4 runs in the 9th to walk it off 10-9. And here you see the last play. Pataxel popped it up on the right side, and Gavin Grant, who had been the star for Oregon today with 2 solo home runs, got it lost in the lights, fighting off the rain, goes off the heel of his glove, and he drops it.
Yeah, and you can see that rain there, and I almost said it in the middle of the pop-up, but I didn't want to interrupt you. But the rain was coming down pretty hard, and it was high, and it's very difficult to look up in that rain. And yeah, I feel bad for Gavin Grant. He had a great day today, hitting the 9-hole, hit 2 home runs, and you know that's tough for that young man. But a cool deal for the Pilots.
Now, Pilots walk it off, the first walk-off of the season at Joe Etzel Field, and they do it against a ranked opponent in the Oregon Ducks. That was Corey Keir. I'm Brian Slack, and the Pilots pull off the comeback twice today, and they get the walk-off victory 10-9 against the Oregon Ducks. A huge shout-out to the production crew fighting off the rain outside and fighting off the rain delays. We couldn't have done it without you, and thank you for tuning into our game today. Again, Portland takes it against the Ducks in walk-off fashion 10-9 on Portland CW.